Hello, boys and girls, lads and lassies, and welcome back to another Let's Talk Geeky. And it's going to be, for me, a special one because I was at the Comic Con today and I spent too much. But I have noticed two problems with it. One, it's quarter of the size as it was pre-pandemic. Two,
What a surprise.
happened at the same weekend as a Comic Con in London. So a lot of big guests who would normally turn up, they weren't there.
We
So
did
there was a few guests. Sorry?
On the other end.
Did you get?
Yes.
Whom?
Well, there was a couple from like Stranger Things. It's just cast members. They weren't the big names. And there was ones from who have been in maybe Doctor Who, but they've been in one episode. So they had like maybe 5 or 6 names. Programs they'd been on, but it was 1 or 2 of the ones that I recognised, but I couldn't have told you what episode they were in or anything like that. So it was nice because they were still doing photo shoots. They were still getting people coming up, chatting to them. They were still getting people coming up and getting signatures. And I met Scotland's version. Now, Roman keeps on saying about Scottish Gary. Well, I met Scottish Ripper. Really nice guy, and he's done some comic books, and I've just a preliminary look through them. The artwork is great. I'm going to read them tomorrow, and I'm going to review. So I put his link to his YouTube channel in the description, and his surname is also his Twitter. He does comics as well as movies or documentaries. So he's in the music, so he's a bit of a renaissance man, the same as Eric July.
Wow!
Because I when I first went, I was dressed like this. Surprise, surprise! I've no change since I got home, but it was that warm. I went back to the car with my stuff to drop it all off, and I took this off, and I had my Isom t-shirt, and as I was walking past, he goes, "That's who I want to be." He basically says that's who he wants to be. He wants to be like Eric July. He wants to be the same as Ripper. And I was chatting to him, and there was a couple of girls actually. Can we get a picture with you? And he's looking at me as if to say, "Aye, okay then." It was fun, and he was just chatting away. So a really nice guy. I'm looking forward to doing the books and reading through the books, and I might even do a wee review of them because there's a couple of books I said to the guys who I bought from, because I bought from them before and I liked the stuff. So they did say I was a wee bit of a fussy bugger. I don't know where they get that idea from, but they would say things like, and I says, right, I've read that one, and that one. Recommend something else. And he goes, well, what do you like? I says, well, there you go. It has to be light. Heroes have to be heroes. Villain has to be villains. No grey areas. No. And he goes,
Nothing too dark then, PJ.
Yeah. And he says this one here, it's villains and heroes. He says the witches are the heroes. I says, nope. That's it. Witches are not heroes. So sorry. And then he goes, "Oh God, that type of fussy bugger." So it was fun today. I was chatting away to a lot of the guys, and even the guys that were doing the toys and stuff. It was I had a fun time. Felt a wee bit under the weather, but headache still a wee bit there, and I'm getting a wee bit sore throat because the amount of talking I didn't help. So. Apart from that, how's your week's been?
All right. Glad to be back.
Well, I'm glad you're back. You have a nice wee break.
Yeah.
Yep. And Wend, Darren, send them our love. You take care. So we'll see you back whenever. And Jim, I see Jim's in the chat. Eventually he'll come back on because I need somebody to argue with.
No, you don't.
Oh no, I don't. Tell him I need somebody to argue with. Aye. Yeah.
So is this a 10-minute argument or a full 30 minutes?
It's a full 30 minutes. And I don't want an AC of anything I just said. I'm already ahead of that game. And boys.
So are you telling me that an argument is more than just two people dismissing each other? It's an actual discussion of views with arguments and proof behind each point.
Yes, tell them, boys. When we're having an argument, it's a case of no, it isn't. It is not, isn't. That's not an argument. That's just a name saying of what the other person said. No, but I do like a discussion. I do like a wee argument. My family, we used to have spaghetti night. My mum started it when I first got divorced because she thought I wasn't eating. So what she would do is start a spaghetti night, invite everybody because she knew I would turn up. Right, okay. And so what she would do is we would be there. So there could be as little as 8 people or as many as 27 people. And my mum's doing the cooking for everybody. A big pot of spaghetti, bigger than the Dugs. The Dugs could sit in it, both of them together. But our family, I took a friend once, and she basically went, "How does your family communicate?" Because there would 10 conversations, and you would be talking to my sister, arguing with my father, discussing comics with my nephew at the same time. And we would all be doing that, arguing with each other, discussing and disagreeing and just general chit-chat. So our house was loud. And hence the reason why I like to talk. But as you can see, I'm a wee bit hyper at the moment. So apart from that, what have you been up to?
I thought you were going to say what we've been watching.
Yes. What have you been watching? I try going along a wee bit so it's in the middle. The other way, that's it. The Bad Batch, Mandalorian, Picard, 3, Debbie Does Dallas. But then again, we asked what you were watching out of the news, unusual. Debbie Does Dallas is on your playlist every day.
That's TMI.
No, that's his backup movie. Well, one of my friends, I bought her a wee gift because she went back to Poland to visit her family today, yesterday. So she was wanting to go to Comic-Con, and she has got a few wee teeny Funko Pops, and I found a wee one. It's a second-hand one, so I picked it up, and I'm going to actually put it on her desk on Monday when I go in, just as a wee. You missed it, but I picked this up for you, and it's a wee Grogu. Where is he? Where is he? Hey, boys, come on. Get off my legs. Right, go and get my bag. Fetch. One word for me to do what they want. Right, come on. Go. Buddy. What? I nearly dropped him because I couldn't actually do it because of the tea. And I know it sounds weird, but is anybody else talking tonight? So I picked that up for her.
I don't know, maybe you get a word in edgeways.
I picked that up for her. So I'll check it for batteries, see what batteries it takes to see if it lights up. Probably will. So that's the type of wee Funko she's got with that type of stand. So it's the more modern Funko type. So, but did you hear about Funko?
Not particularly, no.
Oh,
what was the
trash
or something?
Yeah, they were trashing a lot of their they're basically stocks starting to crash. They dropped by 38% of profits. They reckon the Funko bubble has popped. Their distribution, they're having to destroy a lot of their excess product.
Well, it's a good thing I got my Queen Funko.
Yeah.
I don't collect Funkos, unfortunately.
I bought 2, and I've said to myself, unless it's something special, I'm not buying a Funko. I saw a Cylon Funko, but he was wanting £50 for it. And I went,
Whoa.
It is a rare one. It's hard to get a Battlestar Galactica original Cylon, and it is a rare
a real
one.
one.
Yes, a
By
real
your
one, not a makeup one. But so when it comes to my pick of the week, I've got piles of stuff. I've got that much. I'm going to actually clip it from the video, and
Sorry for the loud noise in the background.
that's basically Debbie Does Dallas. Please come to get you. Oh, I saw Mr. AWK is now on Twitter instead of his channel name.
Yes. I decided to join Twitter because
Yeah,
now we've
I
got the
saw
right
that.
to say anything we like. Now Elon's in charge.
So, yes, I did see that. So,
Mhm.
right. So, here's
Yes.
Okay.
Retro Doc in the chat.
Colin, get the champagne ready. Let's pop the cork.
He's Retro Doc's been in seclusion mourning the cancellation of Star Trek Discovery. You mean they've come to their senses? I doubt that.
No, what you mean is he's been hiding so he doesn't get deafened by Doomcock's cheers.
Yes, that's probably what it is. But I must admit, do you know, I also, one of the guys was, I'd said to him, have you got any Ash Williams? And he goes, well, that's a different story. But he says, have you seen the Evil Dead? Is it Rises? It's the new Evil Dead movie. There was a trailer, 2022. Bruce Campbell's not in it. He says it's actually, somebody finds the Necro Omnicon. See, Roman, I can say it if I think, but I default go to Necro Comic Con, so it's Necro Omnicon. The family find that, and it's the mother who gets possessed. I saw the trailer; it looked really good, but it's not got Bruce Campbell, so yeah. So there is a trailer for it out there. The Evil Dead. Somebody will need to watch it and tell us if it's good or not. But it's not got Bruce Campbell in it, so. Anywho, Cam, don't think about Comic Con. Thankfully, I bought tickets for the one day, or else I would be going back tomorrow and buying a lot more. Basically, I got a retention bonus. My company was bought over, then it was bought over again. So the company that bought us all over gave us last year, told us if we're here by the end of the year, we would get a retention bonus. But that was the Christmas Day. Buddy had his fit for 3 hours. The roof started leaking. And and we had a lot of people in, and it was just, so we had to repair the roof. So between repairing the roof, my car exhaust blowing, the suspension corroding, and the brake lines corroding, that was bye-bye bonus. Bye-bye. Ta-ta. No Comic-Con. So the good thing is my works bonus came through, and because we'd paid that all off, I went and put some aside for the Comic-Con today. So that's what I spent. The last of but do you know I loved about it? And I was telling some of the guys who were selling their toys, I saw the exact same figure they were selling on Amazon at the exact same price. There was 90% of the stuff there that I was looking for, I'd seen on Amazon, and they were selling it for the same price, give or take a couple of quid here and there. But I thought that was really good. When you're going to these Comic Cons, sometimes they put the price up because they need to pay for their tables and stuff like that.
Right.
The prices were actually fairly reasonable and in line with what you would expect. And I said to the guy, I saw a few of the things that I bought today and I'd been looking for, but I decided not to buy them in case they were at the Comic Con. And if I came here and they were more expensive than I saw online, I would have just waited and bought them when I got home. Same price. So I bought them at the Comic Con. To me, that's a perfect thing to do. Just wait see the prices, and if it's a good, reasonable price, give or take a couple of quid here and there. Perfect.
Convenience is sometimes worth the extra.
It is, and you're also it's local people,
Right.
so it's people from the Glasgow area or Ayrshire and stuff like that. So like, I was chatting to one of the guys. He says, "Oh, visit our shop." I says, "I do." Basically, because I was telling him about the Bubba Hotep. Because I said to him, "Have you got any ash?" And he says, "No." He says, "We used to have, but it's hard to get." And I says, "Tell us about it." And I told him about the time I walked in and I wanted an ash figure. That was the one that's sitting in that cupboard, right? I wanted that figure, but when I went in, there was a figure double the price, and it was Bruce from Bubba Hotep, Elvis. So, and I was going to buy it, and I thought, I desperately want the Ash Williams, so I'm going to buy that, and then maybe next month, my next pay packet, I'll come down. And I went down, and it was gone. And he says, "Oh no, they ones fly off the shelf." I says, "I know they're very rare, but if somebody mentions Bruce Campbell, they think Ash. They don't think Bubba Hotep because it's not as popular."
Mm.
But it is no. He says, as soon as things like that come in, bye-bye.
It is a cult movie. That's the main
It
thing.
is a cult movie, but the thing is, if you mention Bruce Campbell, they'll talk about Burn Notice, they'll talk about Evil Dead, they'll talk about maybe even the Spider-Man,
Yeah.
but not as many people. So that's why I was going down that route of not as many people know who he is, so maybe it'll still be there next month. And I obviously regretted that decision because I've never seen it since.
You should have asked the shopkeepers. Well, no, he probably automatically gone for the tell you to get the more expensive one, wouldn't he? No, maybe not. I mean, if he's guaranteed 2 sales.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I didn't mention. I just said to the guy, and I was telling him today. I says, "Oh, I've been into your shop, and I've bought a few things, and a couple of things that I should have bought. I decided not to because the thing is, when I went in the next month, they still had another Ash figure there, so I could have bought that one and come back for the more popular one because they would have more than one. And whereas the Bubba Hotep one, they had one." And that was it because it was a rarity. But wait till you see what I've got. I'll start with the easy stuff, but we'll do that later on. So, and the good thing is, I picked up something. I did mention message it to Roman because I knew he was actually away with his wife this weekend and he wouldn't be here. But you'll see what I got. That Roman. He started me getting McFarlane stuff. I got some non-McFarlane toys. I got some McFarlane toys. I got some toys that I couldn't even tell you the brand. And I got some toys. You're talking about Ash size toys. So we will have Ash fighting these guys with a bit of a backup. You'll see what I mean. Because, see, Ash, right? What's the difference between him and him? Right, that's a statue, right? That's not a good one. What's the difference between him and these guys here? Apart from size, it's basically very generic. Right. See these guys
More
here.
posability?
Eh?
More posability?
More posability, but they're plastic, right?
Yeah.
So those are classed as action figures.
Mm-hmm.
He is classed as a doll.
Yes.
So is Londo, because you can remove the clothes. You can remove the clothes and change the clothes. So he's technically classed as a doll.
Oh, I see.
So he's a doll. They're action figures because they're all plastic. The clothes cannot be removed. Like Londo there and Garibaldi are both dolls as well because their clothes can be removed. They're sewed on, but in theory they can be removed.
Right.
So
they're not molded in.
Yeah, that's
the
best. The same as over there. I've got a Amigo Tom Baker. I need to get his boots and a jumper. A boots and a shirt and a hat
Mm.
because he's got his jacket, he's got his trousers, and he's got a scarf.
Okay, gotta have a scarf.
So I need to get my.
You're a bit cold then, isn't he?
He's a bit cold. That's why he's in the heater. But it's so that's to me. I found that out and I thought that was quite interesting. So I bought myself a doll. So I did, and technically I bought myself more dolls and action figures. But now I'm going to actually play. I'll say, "Come on, son, the grandson. You play with that doll, and I'll play with this one." What do you mean? Boys don't play with dolls. Boys and girls play with dolls. Bug off. Both of us play with dolls. So we're going to.
When you say technically, you mean you bought them for someone else, but you're going to look after them for them.
No. Somebody said that to me, right? A while back when my grandson was born. What am I going to do when he comes in and he wants to play with all this stuff? I'll play with him. That's why they're all out of the boxes. The one or two things that he'll not be allowed to play will keep high or they're still in boxes. But if he wants to play with anything, they can all be replaced. So they are toys to me. They're not. There's one or two collectibles, but they're separate because they're rare and it's hard to get. But 99% of the stuff in my room, if my grandson wants to play with them, I'll be sitting on the floor playing with them. Be it my action figures, my dolls, I'll be playing with them. But that's just me. I'm just a weirdo.
Nah. Hey, the thing is, PJ, what?
Retro Gary's question.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great.
No.
Gary, you were.
No, I like the idea. You imagine going through customs with your cocaine bear. Ripping that apart to see why it's called cocaine bear. You never seen the movie? It's talcum, honest.
Yeah, the thing is, it's talcum powder. What it turns out is that the bear, is actually made of cocaine.
Oh no, that'd be funny.
Oh really?
Turn into paste. It's been done. You turn it into a sort of paste.
Yeah.
Christ almighty, did you not see that one? The avocados they're managing. What they do is they drill into the avocado, use a drill, and get rid of the seed, and then inject it with a mix of cocaine and something which solidifies.
Yeah.
And then, so basically, if people are checking it, they cut it. It basically looks like the seed inside the avocado. So what the guys are doing is cutting it, boiling it. It boils away the excess stuff. Take the cocaine down and digging it down.
You used to do that with cocaine and heroin. You could do it in clothing. You made liquid, soak it in the clothing when it dries, and then you just watch.
Yeah, I would never know.
When I was 14, I had spent the summer visiting family and friends in Wales, England, and Scotland. Did not make it to Ireland that summer. And I bought some Cadbury's cocoa powder to take home with me. And I'm by myself. And I get to the airport in London, and they're going through my bags. And the guy sees the tin. And he says, "What is this?" And I said, "Well, it's cocoa powder." And he didn't want to believe me. So he pokes open the hermetically sealed piece of paper and starts stirring it around and smelling it. He didn't taste it, but he did stir it around and smell it and realized there was nothing in there but cocoa powder.
You know why that is, don't you?
You wanted a drink.
Because
I don't know what he was looking for, but it wasn't there.
No, do you know what it is? Is because like in the States especially, shipping, because dogs can smell, what they do is they wrap them in cocoa beans around the outside, and it throws the dogs off. They can't smell.
49 years ago.
I saw that in Beverly Hills Cop.
About that as they are now. This was 49 years ago when I was a child by myself.
Oh,
basically, rumor and innuendo. We don't know they for real. We just guess.
some of us used to work in one side of the trade, and it wasn't, it wasn't the trade that paid better. When I was a kid, like most boys, boys and girls are different. I used to enjoy playing with guns. As right, I remember coming back. You're not going to believe this. You weren't, especially Kelly. Coming back from Jersey on a holiday. I was not a smart kid. I was not. I have to admit, I was not a mature kid.
I know. He actually notice how he actually redefined that. I was not a smart kid. In case somebody says, "So you grew up,"
No.
but he changed it to refined. You know what I mean?
But I bought I think it was a Lou gun. It was a toy gun. I actually flew back with my parents. It was a family holiday. With a gun in my belt. It didn't no metal detectors. Didn't get searched by customs or anything because this was in the 70s.
Right. You know. I told you before about my friend's father who was in the Merchant Navy, and every so often he would bring stuff back. Like he brought the swords back from water margins. It was the girl's sword. So she had one sword, but she could split it and it was two.
Yeah.
But the next year he brought back rifles. Wooden, metal, and it had a cocking action. And the cocking action had a wooden bullet. So cock it and you'd go click. And that's all it did. But they looked great. So he brought two, one for his son and one for the neighbour. If he knew we were all a big group, he probably brought us all one back and we would have been all marching up and down because it looked real. Can you imagine him coming over and he's going, and somebody says, "What's that?" "Oh, it's toy guns for the kids." Right. And that was it. They looked real. Nowadays, nope.
No.
Where's the orange bit in the front? Well,
yeah,
see my real gun. Just so the cops won't actually shoot me, I'm just going to put an orange bit in the front of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. You know what I mean? But I was still looking for the one thing. I've kept some money aside just in case I ever see it. And I have seen it at the Comic Cons. I'm hoping at Brayhead the company will be there. Do you think they'll be there? No, I didn't think so either. But I don't want to say what it is, but it's going to take up pride and place on the shelf. So it is the whole shelf, if I get it.
So that'll be your Enterprise D then.
No, it is not. It is not a sci-fi figure or vehicle.
No, so it could be a horror.
It could be. It could be from horror genre. Just as well. But it's not a sci-fi figure or a fantasy figure or vehicle. The thing is, I'm so keen to get it. I was looking around. I could buy it online, but a lot of the places that you purchase it online only deliver it to the Comic Cons, so for pickup only. Because
at least
of the size.
At least it's not a 6-foot Galactica model, and then you're all right.
But, well, that's not going to sit on the shelf. If you do, you just see his feet. But the thing is, I've seen when I went to Edinburgh, that was the first time I saw the company that did them all. And I wanted to buy them, and I was a bit stupid and said, "Nah, I'll see it in another Comic Con anytime." Never seen it at a Comic Con since. I've always got money aside for it. But one of these days, look, my top of the world.
Sorry, just had to pop away for a second. Well, you were saying about guns and the rest of it, toy guns, etc., etc. I quote: "The person named on this card should be."
Should be what?
You cut out again. You keep cutting. There's no point in doing a speech because halfway through your speech it just goes boing.
The person named on this card should be recognised as a reenactor for purposes of the Prevention of Crimes Act 1953, Criminal Justice Act 1988, and other relevant legislation. That's my license to carry weapons.
Ah.
Swords,
one of my friends was a reenactor. She was she had the musket and all the. So it
In which
wasn't.
case, she'd have needed a black powder shotgun license as well.
Yeah. So she had, and it wasn't a Napoleonic reenactor. She was a English Civil War reenactor. So the belt with all the.
Yeah.
So yes, she had to have that for traveling as well.
That's one advantage if you've not got. Ooh. Thank you, Gary. I know I'm going to watch later on.
I've not seen that. I've not seen last night's. No, I have.
I'll tell you what. Actually, you say that, Gary. There's an interesting back connection to that because I think after he came out of Battlestar Galactica, he was in the British version of Law and Order. So he was the DS.
I haven't watched that yet. I think BritBox has it, but I haven't seen any of the episodes yet.
No. I've never been a big fan of Law and Order or any like the court drama type stuff.
I used to watch them, and I did like Law and Order UK. I'm not sure if I saw all the seasons of it because I've
only seen the US.
Yeah, because it was done I exactly the same sort of format. But obviously, and the other thing is his equivalent on the criminal justice side, on the court side, the prosecutor was, i.e., the second lead was Freeman Ackerman.
Yeah.
So you got Apollo on one side and Martha Jones on the other,
and Bradley Walsh in between.
Bradley Walsh in between, yes.
Yeah.
Was Peter Davison in Law and Order UK also?
I think he was in for an episode.
I think he was
in
this one.
Yeah. Just poor Keely. She came in. Keely's house just came in just as we were all talking about drugs.
I know.
What the hell?
Well,
it's a shame. Recently. What?
So the point I would make is, all these things the problem is all these things we're talking about are things that we know about and the authorities know about. It's the ones that the authorities don't know at first.
Yeah.
This is how
and then they cotton on.
Yeah.
Well, it basically say crime is always one step ahead of the law because the law only reacts to when they find out something is done.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yes, he was. You're right. Sorry, no. So I'm mentioning. Well, yeah, you're right. He was the. He wasn't he filmed like. Was he the chief prosecutor? Or was he the chief cop? You know. Now you say that, I remember seeing Peter Davidson in it. Yeah. Yeah. No. What was I saying? I completely derailed my thought there.
You were talking about
where we can get some good cocaine from.
My mum used to my late mother. I never knew my grandfather. My mum's grandfather. I think he passed away before mum and dad were even married. But he used to be a train driver. And he used to say, and I think he's one that told her about the fact that he used to get people in international grades would swallow watches, to smuggle watches. And that moved on to become swallowing drugs. And the first time any authorities anywhere found out that it was that people were doing this was when someone died because the drugs burst in their stomach and they were taken hospital and died. And that's how authorities, and that's why you've now got X-ray suites at airports and ports and all sorts of things.
Yep.
Yes, that's why you have to strip down and say, "Here's the rubber glove."
Yeah. Do you know? Do you know what we used to? We honestly used to nickname the doctor at Heathrow, whose job was to do that.
Dr. Death.
No, Dr. Goldfinger. Dr. Goldfinger, because he was paid for it.
Yeah, good point.
We got Dr. Goldfinger.
Speaking about gold,
now there's a job.
What?
Yeah.
Please apply. CV required. Come with own glove.
Okay.
One finger.
My brain is now completely and utterly. No, that cannot be right, Gary. That cannot be right.
What we're talking about cannot be right. You mentioned something as if everybody's read the chat.
Chimbal produced Law and Order UK.
Oh, he did.
Ye gods. What happened to him?
Well, let's put it this way.
you see that, and then wait till RTD starts.
We
putting
will
stuff
see. Yeah, we
back
will see.
together.
Now, if the thing is, if he does get that bad, we will know what happened to RTD.
Yeah.
And when you having said that, to be quite honest, I don't normally pay much attention to who's behind the scenes.
No.
See, behind the scenes stuff has never really bothered me either.
So
The music, you look at, I don't really listen to music, and I've said to you, Alec, before, I don't even notice music in the scenes. The only time I notice music when it's the big music for the film, Star Wars, Star Trek, that type of thing. But I notice if it's not there, it's something's missing.
Yeah.
So it's anything behind the scene. I couldn't tell you a lot of the directors, producers, whatever. However, I still think that RTD is, no matter what people think, he's basically given Shooty an enema. He's effectively turns around and says, I don't trust you enough. I'm going to put him in until we can get the numbers up, and then I'll put you in. He effectively said
it's that way, but I can see why you.
But see, that's the way I do, because if you're introducing a new doctor, that's the bit that's meant to bring people in. He's turned around and says, doesn't matter. I don't think you're going to bring people in, so I'm going to get people back first.
Don't forget, it is the 60th anniversary, so that's why they're doing it.
Yeah. But what's the 60th anniversary got to do with actually replacing the Doctor with an old incarnation, bringing them together like they've done the 5 Doctors, the 3 Doctors, the Day of the Doctor.
They're bringing the 10th and the 14th together.
See again?
He said this one was a multi-doctor. It's the 10th and the 14th in the same body.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you see what I mean? It's, to me, he's effectively turned around and said, I don't trust you to actually bring the people in, so I'm going to go back to somebody I know will bring them in.
Nobody's ever heard of him.
Eh?
Nobody's ever heard of Shooty Got One.
But that's the point. Nobody ever heard of Tom Baker when he got the role. Nobody ever. And the thing is, the new Doctor is always somebody that brings people in just to see what they're like. But he's effectively turned around and says, I don't trust you being the new Doctor, so I'm going to have to actually prop you up. To me, that's what he's done. If changing the Doctor is a standard thing within Doctor Who, Colin Baker, they look at the Colin to Sylvester. Colin, people didn't like Colin at the time, but they got used to it. But when Sylvester came in, it wasn't a case of people went, oh, I don't like him, or I like him, he's new, but we'll give him a chance and stuff like that. But it was always one, when the new Doctor was announced, it had a bigger rating, and then people judged it if they liked the Doctor, and then that's how it decided. Him turning around and saying, you're the new Doctor, but we're going to put him in instead. What to me that says, you're the new Doctor, but we don't trust you enough to bring in the crowd.
I don't. Yeah, I can say that. I don't know, but we had this conversation 3 times already.
Yeah, we've had it multiple times. Surprise, my attitude never changes.
Well, I mean, I said someone today. I think the only, I was saying on someone's thing that I was probably on maybe the Rebels. I think the only actor who I'd actually heard of. I'd heard of two names. I think Peter Capaldi was the only Doctor Who actor I think I recognised the face and the name from anywhere. And Chris Marshall, when his name was brought up as being a potential. None of the others I'd even heard of.
Right. So, RTD, right, you want to actually listen how you bring Tennant back without it being too weird. This is just my thoughts, being a opinionated, self-appointed narcissist. This is my thoughts, right? So, Jodie starts regenerating, but something happened. The TARDIS is flickering. Something's happening. Suddenly standing there is Michael Troughton as Pat. And then he talks away for a couple of minutes, and then suddenly it goes again. and there's Pertwee's son standing there, and then maybe Peter Davidson standing there, then and then basically Tom, but he no Tom
Colin?
no. I'm actually David Tennant standing there, and he's doing something, and finally he gets it stabilized, and he says, "This is only a temporary. We need to work out what it is." So you could have had Patrick Troughton's son standing in for him because they look very similar nowadays. John Pertwee's son standing in for him just for a couple of minutes, and them going around, something's not right, and then it could end up with David, and it's a case of something's going wrong. We need to fix this because this is going to actually kill me. So then the couple of episodes of him trying to fix his regeneration to go into shooting. So, but that's just me thinking off the top of my head of a way that it isn't a case of we don't trust you, we'll pick him instead because he's popular.
Well, I mean,
when I hear it.
Well, as Gary pointed out, there's also a possibility that Shooty wasn't available at the time.
But even if it wasn't available, why did they get the part to start in 2022 if it wasn't available?
Because we wanted to get rid of Jodie as soon as possible.
But that's not the point. If I'm going for a job and the job they says the job pays this amount, work here, and it starts here, and I turn around and go, right, I can't start for a year. They would go, bye. You wouldn't be considered.
Yeah, but it's
so why would you consider somebody who can't fulfill the role?
PJ, it's not the same as real world.
Yeah. I know it's not the same, but to me, it is because they're effectively turning around. It's either one of two things, right? We're going to have him no matter what. Don't care what obstacles there is because he fits the agenda, or we don't trust him enough to be the doctor. And that's so unless people are actually fully aware of all the reasons, there's two conclusions. And not everybody's aware of what's happening behind the scenes. So they're either going to come to two conclusions, and I've come to both of them. I'm narcissistic. I always think about it. But I'm okay being narcissistic, but then again, I'm okay with anything I do. So
I do it. I mean,
it's a case of you have only got two reasons. If you don't know, is A, they'll do anything to tick the box to have him, or B, they don't trust him enough after hiring him, so they bring in somebody else.
Or C, three, they want him, but this being something where, unlike most jobs, you start next month. There's a 6 month to a year delay in anything. They say, okay, we want him, but we know. Okay, so we can't have him till then. We'll put him in there, but we need something to fill in the meantime.
No, but the thing is, that takes you straight back to point one. No matter what, they're going to have him because he ticks the boxes. And
if he's the one that they want,
they'll put a delay on because he's more important than the actual show they're doing. Because 99% of the time, it's a case of this show has to film. So if you can't do it, we'll get another actor.
Yeah,
but we're putting it off because he couldn't fulfill the role for a year. Then you would, if any other one, they would actually say, well, he was going to be in the movie, but he had scheduling conflicts, so he couldn't be. That's happened in time immemorial. But what they're turning around and saying is, we'll put it all off because of that. Why? Because they've said to other actors, well, if you can't do it, we'll just get somebody else in their place. They've done that multiple times. How many times have you seen big actors turn around saying there was a scheduling conflict, but I was meant to be in it, but I couldn't be because I was filming, I was doing something else. So they went to them, if we want you in it, they say, I would love to be in it, but I'm filming, then they'll just go, somebody else then.
That's real. They wanted Tennant because he will bring eyeballs back to the screen.
That's exactly it. So they don't have enough trust.
And it's not because they don't. I don't think it's because they don't trust Shooty. I think it's because no. I think it's because almost everybody loves Tennant, and he's a guaranteed ratings grabber.
Yeah.
Yes.
They want to bring back
because he's a guaranteed rating grabber. They know that he will bring the audience back because they do not trust a new doctor to bring the audience back.
I don't think it's just Shooty. I think any new doctor would have the same issue. They would
Yeah.
bring.
I think
Well-
if they had actually got somebody who could start, they and they wanted.
Depends who it is.
But
Yeah,
still,
yeah.
It would really depend who it is. It has to be a big name because nobody's heard of Shooty Got One. Nobody.
Nobody heard of Tom Baker at the time.
Right,
Exactly.
that was 50 something years ago. It's different now.
Well, no, I think
You
you're
were
no.
upset Some people at first were upset when Matt Smith was named because they'd never heard of him.
No, I don't think
Well,
Matt
I say,
Smith
I
was
th-
that
I
good
don't-
anyway.
A lot of
And
people love
David, I prefer David Tennant as
I do
Davina
too, but,
in Ramsey's
Go
Crypt.
away now.
loves Matt Smith. A
Matt
lot
Smith
of
was
people
my
love Matt
favorite.
I personally.
See,
Well,
Matt Smith
actually, no,
is
I lie.
to me, Matt Smith was just a wee boy in his dad's coat doing all the big speeches. Yeah, I mean, you're looking at this young guy actually doing all these big gravitas, and you're sitting there thinking, give your dad his coat back because you're
Yeah.
actually just.
So you've
looking
got
at-
someone who's got all that experience, just happens to have been reborn in the younger body, but he's still got all the experience.
He's a very good
But
shot.
he didn't actually, the gravitas just didn't come across for him. When I was looking at him, that's all I
Of course he
saw.
did.
He's wearing his dad's outfit, so he's basically wearing the big boy pants. But it didn't come across as having that gravitas.
Well,
Christopher
think-
Eccleston, he had the gravitas. His face had that he had that gravitas within him. But I thought
Peter Davison
Matt
looked
Smith-
like a child.
He did.
Davidson.
Especially if you'd seen him in the Tomorrow Peak. No, we won't go down that line.
Tristan, I mean, the guy had a baby face.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I'm aware because Peter Davidson was when I was watching it.
Right.
Yes, I
Yes.
thought he was a wee bit too young, but the gravitas because he didn't give big speeches
But don't
Well,
forget,
when
he
he
did
got-
come off of
a couple of times. All the doctors gave big speeches at times,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. Whereas Matt Smith, to me, every bloody episode or every story had to give a big.
Well, that's not his fault. That's Moffat's fault.
Of course, it is Moffat. At Moffat's. Oh, by the way, for Wednesday, UK version only. You can watch the US version of Coupling.
I have no desire to watch the US version.
Oh, don't. But
The
well-
UK version is on the US BritBox, so I will try to watch it.
I'm going to watch only the rewatch. The only ones I like are the first 3 seasons. It's like
Well, I don't have time
Plebs, it's like Plebs again. The first 3 seasons are great until Jeff leaves.
I think
All-
they did like
Oliver coming in is no as good.
They
The
did-
4th season's no as good.
didn't they do a recent episode where they just sort of revisited?
There was a then and now type thing,
Okay.
but the
Yeah, no, I
first
haven't
3
watched
seasons of Coupling is good, and I'm going to rewatch the first season before Wednesday.
This week, all I watched was The Mandalorian and Beyond Paradise. During the week, it's
I've got to get Beyond Paradise. I need to watch it tomorrow. So
I loved
my
it.
wife's out, so I'm going to sit and watch it tomorrow night. But I've got some comics to read. There's my priority for tomorrow. So I'm actually decided a Sunday I'm just going to go click, and the only time I'm turning the computer on is when Mr. Hyde's on. But tomorrow my wife's out, so I'm driving. So most of the time I won't be on the computer.
Did anybody watch Mandalorian?
Yep.
No,
My
I
friend
haven't.
watched it and she loved it.
I liked it.
She's a big fan of The Mandalorian. She's a big fan of the current version of
I didn't see Boba
Star
Fett,
Wars.
I just watched Mandalorian.
Aye. So that's why I said she's got all the
I had Boba Fett.
small Funkles, and that's the one I was talking about. So she enjoyed it. She said it dropped on Wednesday at lunchtime. She was watching it on her phone because she couldn't wait until she got home. So she sat and watched it and enjoyed it. Yeah, so I don't know. It's just I've heard some reviews about it, and it's to me it seems the same old. It might be good, but they're still actually trying to twist it in and make it stupid. Like for instance, you
Whatever.
never take your helmet off, right? So I'm not allowed to wash then. You know what I mean? When I grow up and my head gets a wee bit bigger, or somebody hits me over the head and it smashes it, and I meant to super glue it back on. Things like they say and what they do is just, it sounds good until you realise, sorry, I've got a brain and that doesn't make any sense.
I suspect that's been either deliberately or accidentally not thought about the same.
You're talking about modern day.
Yeah, no, but
writing.
there's
There's nothing deliberate about it. It's an
no,
accident.
it's accident because they've not because. Okay, so
It's
the same as
good.
Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd never takes his helmet off in public. Right?
Yeah.
The Mandalorian should never take their helmet off in public.
Yes, but the problem is the
difference. 2 words, and all the problems go away. The only problem is because
between Judge Dredd and the Mandalorian, they always say, but Judge Dredd has taken his helmet off a couple of times. You see his face, but just because he's going through the face change,
yeah. Well, I think
it's basically or something's happened and people are went and it's censored. But the thing is,
actually,
you see him even in the comic strip when he's sitting. He basically, you see him getting ready and he puts his helmet on. So it's just a case of,
you never see
in the comic, you've never seen his face, but it's not a case of he's never taken his helmet off or there's something behind it.
Maybe not the best. It's the only other one thing.
Whereas the Mandalorian, they've effectively turned around and says, you never take your helmet off. And you're sitting there thinking, that's a good soundbite.
Now, wait a second. I'm sure I've seen pictures of Katie Sackhoff in the Mandalorian without a helmet.
Well, that was covered in the last season when she says that's what you've learned is all baloney. We can take our helmets off. You guys are part of
but that's what I'm saying. It's as a soundbite when they first brought it in, it sounded great. Oh, a Mandalorian never takes his helmet off, and you're sitting there thinking, so he sleeps in it.
So add 2 words to that.
So he does this in it.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense as soon as you think about it. But it's somebody's put it in, and then they've had to go backtrack, because when they put it in, that sounded great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then they've had to backtrack it.
You just add 2 words. You say a Mandalorian never takes his helmet off in public.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, you can see reasons why, for example, you see special forces guys never show their faces on TV.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to be identified because a Mandalorian, the Mandalorians are, if I remember correctly, they're mercenaries. You don't know. So no, they're representing, they're not representing themselves, they're representing such and such. Well, you never take your face off. So if you take his helmet
through their face and hit public.
So, for example, he probably could take his helmet. Mandalorian could take their helmet off if they're out in civilian gear and no one's going to identify them as a Mandalorian. How do you know it's a Mandalorian?
And Grogu could identify.
Yeah, but it's that type of thing. When they first wrote it, they wrote it as a soundbite. Nobody, then somebody's actually come back and says,
someone who can think.
The actors want to show their face. Oh, well, we'll need to actually retract. See, if the actors were quite happy not showing their faces, that would never have been retracted. It would never have been retracted because it's too good as a soundbite. However, it makes zero sense.
Oh, I agree. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't make any sense. But in the show, that's how they try to get away with it.
Yeah, because they've had to backtrack it. It's the same as nowadays. The Doctor has got a similar type of costume, but it's always slightly different. Mm-hmm. Rather than always having the exact same costume.
Tom Baker had different costumes.
They basically, I think that was down to the fact, as Tom actually says, you cannot have the same person wearing the same outfit every time. But they went back to that as well. Even Tristan started off with certain one and it changed slightly. But you look at, they always try to get a look, and the look works to an extent. Look at Collins. It did not work in any extent.
He changed his outfit.
I know he changed the colours and stuff like that, but it didn't work in any extent. And you're sitting there thinking, he has to be, he's effectively, they're putting that down as he's going to wear that so many times and always. Yeah. We all know the Doctor must be stinking because he's wearing the same outfit most days.
It becomes a uniform.
Yeah.
Sweet. But I don't know if I saw somebody had a really great one. They were discussing the Mandalorian and the helmet thing, and because they put on a kid, someone said it's not a helmet, it's a foot binder for the head. So Mandalorians have always got kid-sized heads.
Yeah, because I think that was on Gary's. I think that was actually on
Yes,
Gary's.
I think it was on Friday Night Tights. I saw part of Friday Night Tights last night. Yeah, I think that was great. Yeah,
that's right. When they showed that ceremony, I was thinking, was that our Mandalorian ceremony?
Yeah, it's great ruse, wasn't it?
I'm sorry?
It was a great ruse, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Thinking, and then they'll get
let's have this secret ceremony on this beach where we always have it, where there's a big bloody ginormous crocodile that's going to come and eat us all.
Yeah.
Wakizashi, as in six-legged crocodile from a planet where the gravity is 2/3 that of Earth. John Carter.
But the thing is,
because that's the name. That's the name. You saying that John Carter? That's where I normally go to.
Right, John Carter of Mars. That's basically
what. That's where I go to when someone says John Carter in sci-fi.
But that's what he's obviously meaning, giant crocodile. Because you don't need to explain to us geeks on this panel what a geeky thing is. I mean, that'd be like me explaining to you how to actually fire a bow. Night arrows.
I was, you know that thing where you honestly, you know that thing where you can put headlines down the rest of it, right?
Yeah,
I was going to put one saying, "Don't get me started on fire arrows," and I didn't. I should have just said, "Don't get me started."
You can still do that.
You can still do it. You just go into the edit your avatar name, and then it's got the headline underneath. You can just type it, because I did it with my big comment hole.
Don't get me started.
On the 3 dots, it says edit name and headline.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Lando Mandalorian. Come on.
Oh, thank you, Gary. You've made
no, hold on. No. What is and it's Pando Lando Mandalorian.
Pando Mandalorian.
Yeah. Lando the Pando Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
Don't mind me get the panda.
Mandalorian.
I don't mention the panda around Alec, for God's sake. But weird.
No,
I've not watched The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett. I've not watched any of the new crop. The last new item I saw from Star Wars was Rouge One, and I didn't like it. Rogue One.
Thank you.
Just the spelling Rouge. I just didn't like it. I just thought it was actually the way I looked at it is that whole movie effectively turns around and says Princess Leia is not as tough as we all thought she was.
Harumph.
And basically, to me, it actually says Princess Leia just took the credit for everybody. But it was left ambiguous enough that she could have been part of it or not, or she was just the mouthpiece, but it was ambiguous enough. However, now she's just the mouthpiece and she's just taking the credit for everybody else's work. That's why I didn't like it. But then again, I'm a fussy old bugger. Can't help myself. Bah humbug.
Bit late for Christmas.
You're never too late to be a bah humbug. You know what I mean? But kill the stream, bah humbug. So I've not watched any of the Star Wars stuff, same as the Star Trek stuff. The last Star Trek movie I watched was the second one, and I thought the first one had good promise because it was a way to relaunch it into an alternate universe, because with Spock going back, he changed the events because of not only him going back, but Nero going back as well and messing it around. So it changed it so you could have similar characters, but all reimagined.
Yeah.
And then I sat and watched how they reimagined them. And then I thought, yeah. Second one I thought was just as bad. And then I thought, nah,
I thought the first one was a very clever way of rebooting it.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, and I thought this could be a way of doing it, because what you've done is rebooted it without touching the original stuff.
Yes.
So you're saying this is a completely different timeline, which the Kelvin timeline, that's basically
the
what
only problem is I still don't understand. It's the same as they're going to be doing this apparently with the Flashpoint movie and the rest of it. Fine, I understand the whole thing. You see this, you can draw it as a diagram on the board. You can draw it as a diagram, and you get change point. One, it goes into two different things. But everything before that change point must be the same. So if Flash, why the hell all of a sudden, just because Flash has gone back 20 years in time, why is it no longer Kal-El that gets left from Krypton? Why is it now Kara? I mean, she appears to be about the same age from what I can. Why all these changes? Why is it? I mean, what I would love to have known after 2009 started, I would really be interested. Okay, so why is it that this one change? Okay, we know what this one change has happened. This one change has happened to Kirk and his father. But how was that change meant that Scotty is now over here? How's that change? McCoy's just suddenly going to. How is it this particular?
No, but
change?
see, the thing is, they got away with that because it didn't just change the people on that one ship, because there was so many other ships got destroyed.
Yeah.
It changed how the Federation had.
That's fun. Yeah,
so it affected. But as soon as you go to a different planet, then that's you got a problem.
No, fair point. I mean, I said the ripples all got to go. Okay. How did that point? Great, and again, interesting to see. Yes, okay, so so rather than this, because of this shit wasn't there, so this didn't happen. Yeah, I can see that, but it'd be interesting. But thinking, okay, how can that affect things that were in motion before that event happened? They seem, they seem to use it. My problem with 2009, although I don't know. I mean, an explanation maybe that you maybe had to map it out, but that they reset it. But what they did is they used as an example, but rather than reset it, they reset rather than say, okay, we'll spin off this one another tip. So everything's the same from this point onwards. It's like they go in there and say, okay, so Enterprise didn't happen. Well, of course it did, because Enterprise happened before that event happened.
Yes.
They don't follow, they use it as a lazy excuse rather than actually try to think what happens.
But don't forget, Star Trek 2009, it was a big budgety production.
Yeah.
Compared to
and I must admit, I got this at the Comic-Con today. Flashpoint. There was 2 Flashpoints. One of them had the crappy Superman. I don't like that story. Bears where he goes back and whatever he's done changes it. So Superman is kept out the sun and he's just this. How does him going back affect how Superman's affected?
That's what, exactly.
So I just don't pick that comment. There was the 2 Flashpoints, and I picked up the Flashpoint where it's just affecting him. So
I got 200. I didn't realize. I mean, I know because the only one I was aware of was when it happened. When they did it in the TV show.
I've got a question. I don't know if you guys will know. I definitely didn't know. However, I know Roman may know. So while he's in the chat, before he has to go in and actually attend to his wife and actually treat her like the princess. However, right, one of the guys at the Comic-Con we were talking today, and he says, have I ever heard of what is in effect the Dark Avengers or Dark Justice League. He says it's like idea of the Watchmen. However, the Superman character is just pure evil. The Batman character is a black Batman, a black vigilante who only goes after certain crimes.
Is that Injustice?
Is it Injustice? I don't know.
I don't know.
I've never read it, and it's too dark for me. So I knew Roman, Roman and the Gloman, might actually know. So while he was in the chat, I thought I would ask.
No, the only Flashpoint I'm aware of, because I haven't read the comics other than what I've managed to pick up, PDF, etc., for decades, literally. But I know that they did the Flashpoint idea in the TV series, and they did it subtly. Some of the change there, for example.
Yeah. Something is happening in the chat, right? Hold on. Where is it? Roman, you're right. Wakahashi's tea house is welcome. However, remember, Gary, that we, mainly Alec there, has been on Roman's channel, which we normally have to sit up till 1 o'clock in the morning to actually be on it or even view it, which we've done, both of us have done in the past. So it can be done. And you don't need to join at the beginning. You can always just let us know and we can drop you a link. So when you get up at 8 o'clock, we might just be finishing, but you could pop in. So just so you're aware, there is possibilities.
You saying that, Gary? I mean, I remember the original. I read the original. I think I read the original Crisis on Infinite Earths, the first one.
Yeah.
I don't think they did any of the other ones they did sequentially because they got to a point where they'd got so many different storylines running and the rest of it. Yeah. But the only thing is, I remember they did quite subtle things, like, for example, I forget the character's name. The guy, I think he may gone on to become a Green Lantern in the DC TV. What do you call it? The CW verse, the Arrowverse. Diggle, that's it.
John Diggle.
John Diggle gets married and he has a kid. And if I remember right, after Flashpoint, that child changed from being a boy to being a girl. There was some things. There were things which were quite. Some of them were quite subtle changes. They did it rather than major over the top sorts of things. But as I said, I mean, my first exactly. I mean, I've got an even bigger question. Having seen the trailer for the Flash, which I've no intention of watching. Okay, so Kryptonian X, doesn't really matter who they are, gets captured as a kid. They realise that they get their powers from the sun, so they keep them in a deep dark out of the sun, so they can never have any power, learn anything. So all of a sudden, somehow, and I don't think it's actually shown in the thing, but in the trailer, but somehow they suddenly, during a battle, whatever it happens, they suddenly get exposed to the sun, and all of a sudden they get the powers, and they suddenly magically, as soon as the sun touches them, they can fly, they can fight, they've got excellent muscle tone body.
Practicing the whole time.
Exactly, yeah.
And
I mean, maybe they
see when you said Diggler, I was actually thinking more of Dirk Digby from Coupling. That's a Syrian coupling. I don't know who Dirk Diggler is. Who's Dirk Diggler? Anybody know?
Not off the top of my head.
Weren't he in a film called Boogie Nights? With Mark Hamill. No, not Mark Hamill. Mark Wahlberg.
It could have been, I don't know. Basically, I recognise the name, but I don't know where I've got it from. But I was thinking Dirk Digby from Boogie Nights. Yep, it's definitely from Boogie Nights. And by the way, see at the Comic Con today, I saw a Zatanna figure and a Constantine figure. The
Wow.
Zatanna figure looked fantastic, but I decided to go for the other figure that I saw, which I'm going to
What?
actually show.
You mean they're allowed to show Zatanna figures these days? I'm amazed they're not been utterly banned and burned from everybody's eyes.
Yep. Top hat, waistcoat, bow tie, shorts,
fishnets. I'm amazed.
Well, the figure was about that size, so.
Okay, that's not so bad. So basically, well, she's dressed as a man, but
no, but it's basically shorts, so she's still got the bow tie, the shorts. It's not trousers, so it's not as if you're going to have
where they sort of the torso upwards, isn't it? It's a waist upwards almost. That seems to be the thing. A bust, only more so.
Yeah. Aye, but it looked like a cool figure. But I saw another figure which I'm going to show shortly. I'm going to actually, in 15 minutes, we're going to do pick of the week. Just because
you need 3 hours.
Yeah. I need a wee bit of time, yes. So I do. Just a wee bit of time. And some of them are going to actually be extended on after I've done it. I'm going to do box opens.
Wow.
Yes.
Not.
Some of them I just want to rip the boxes already. But anywho, Justice League Dark, I don't know. I don't think it is that. It's just that I had never heard of this one, and the only one I could think of it was like a Dark Justice League or like that was Watchmen.
Well, I've heard of one.
It wasn't Watchmen because the one who's meant to be the Superman character is meant to be pure evil, and the one who's the Batman type character is a black vigilante who only goes after certain ones.
I think I might be getting confused. As I said, I mean, the only things that I remember, I've not read them, but where Superman loses it because Lois gets killed or something, and he goes over the top and he becomes.
Yeah, that is that not the Justice Lords?
I think it is.
Possibly. I'm not sure. Injustice I've heard of. Justice Lords doesn't sound familiar, but I mean, I don't know.
The Justice Lords is basically the two realities merge, and when the Justice Lords come over, because they've actually, what happened to Lois sent Clark over the edge, but he didn't go evil. What he went was pure. You have to obey, so crime does not happen. And he brought the rest of them gradually. So they camped him down and they went to the more authoritarian route. And then it crossed over into the universe with the Justice League, and the Justice Lords are fighting. So it was the Justice Lords and Justice League.
Oh, I don't know. It's like one of them. I must admit, I'm tempted to. I think the only thing that looks mildly interesting in the new DC is obviously going to be the Cartman-led. He's going to be the South Park Cartman-led show. The authority.
Yeah.
You will respect the authority. You will respect my authority.
I finally watched that one. I dislike South Park. I dislike that. I don't find them funny. I watched both of the episodes.
Bouncing
and
now.
The first one I was bored. The second one with the wah wah I thought was humorous to an extent because I knew the subject matter, who they were talking about, and I enjoyed it for that. But South Park to me is just dull.
Well,
I know I'm very unusual with that because some people love it, some people hate it, but I don't even dislike it. I just find it dull. I don't find it funny because 90% of the stuff is stuff that we probably don't know about it in the UK.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the whole
ones
thing
we
about
do know about is I don't care enough about to actually get it. The one with Harry and Meghan I thought was hilarious. Some of the aspects of it, they were just taking the absolute piss out of the two of them, and I found that funny.
Oh yeah.
But the other one, I just found dull.
I mean, you're right. I think like anything else, it's an acquired taste, and the I would imagine for starters, the very cartoon style is something that could put you. I mean,
Hey,
for
I grew
example,
up watching Mary, Mungo, and Mitch, Doctor Snuggles, and stuff like that.
Rhubarb
So no,
Buster,
the animation style does not bother me.
Well, I mean, the next one with that thing. One of the things that put me off on watching the what was it, Lower Drex or whatever it was the picture I saw the art style. But I can imagine that some people can. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, different people like different things. That's fair enough. I mean, I've watched all of them, and I do like South Park. But for example, they had a long, ongoing storyline about cannabis farms.
Yeah.
Cannabis is illegal in this country, and as you say, it's something which is very much an American storyline, and that's okay. It's made by Americans for Americans. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's a case of it's not necessarily something that's going to have quite such an effect as Harry and Meghan, for example, because that is going to be an international one.
Yeah.
But there's another one which I haven't seen yet, but I've seen clips of apparently where actually Wacky Sashi can probably tell it. We should probably get him to review this one, where Randy discovers Japanese toilets. Now I've seen clips from this.
I saw the clip of it. They showed it.
Hilarious.
Showed it in Friday Night Tights. I just sort of watched it thinking, eh? But it was my idea. If they were doing something about Scotland, I would probably find it a bit more because I understood it more. You know what I mean?
So you understand why the Loch Ness Monster wants to is still after its 350 then?
Like the Loch Ness Monster, what?
Still after its 350.
No.
Yeah, there was a long gun one about somewhere with $3.50, and at one point the Loch Ness Monster was chasing after its 350.
Never even heard that expression. What's the word?
You
know the Loch Ness
badly
Monster,
accented
the Loch Ness Monster caused an international incident between Scotland and England. I think it was in 1956. I'm sure it was around about that time.
Across the border.
There was a message sent to government saying we have captured the Loch Ness Monster, heading back south with it now. It was intercepted by the local police station, and they put up barriers to stop it being taken out of Scotland. It turned round, it was just a dead walrus.
I thought it might have been something to do with the Stone of Scone.
Basically, no, it was a dead walrus, but they'd found the body and they just assumed that they'd found the body of the Loch Ness Monster, so they tried to take it down to England, and the Scottish police got wind of it and basically blocked the roads, and you had the two forces basically standing off because of the Loch Ness Monster. It turns out, so it caused incidents. But it just goes to show it's basically people just no idea what they're talking about.
No. Well, it was a more innocent time in the 50s.
Yeah, it definitely was. We found the Loch Ness Monster. Click, 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 click. Selfie. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. It didn't exist. Yes.
Oh, come on. If you made a crossover between the Mandalorian and John Wick, it would be called John DeLorean.
Okay, right.
I like that one. I like that one.
Retro Doc, but that's the best one yet.
Yeah, definitely.
Up your game.
Oh, I'm sorry. I like my one about Din Djarin visiting the Centauri.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But come on,
the Londo Mandalorian.
They had
Mandalorian.
They had the one about if they were actually a band actually creating a
Mandalorian.
Yeah,
there it's there. If Billy D. Williams' group of actors did a Christmas
Oh,
party,
dear God.
so would it be the Bando Lando and Pando?
Yeah,
Oh, the
that was,
chimpanzalorian.
there you go.
Oh, come on. Mandalorian. That we're going back the way.
Yeah.
How many Mandalorian jokes can we get in tonight?
Don't ask.
One, two.
Don't you
no
know
matter
there are
how
some
many, it's always
questions
going
you
to be
should
one
never
too many.
ask?
Yeah, no matter how many, there's going to be one too many. Yeah. So, has anybody got picks of the week? Let's go.
Nope.
We're just waiting for yours, PJ.
All right, hold on.
Pick of the week.
We're just waiting for yours.
Right. Okay. So, the big reveal. Let's start with the stuff that I've got to review. Right. As you've seen, I picked up Flashpoint. That was one of the comics I picked up. Looking forward to reading that. So, I'm going to get down to my comics. And I picked up a wee one I picked up for Alec, which is called Spectrum. It
Looking
has
forward
got Terrahawks, Captain Scarlet, and Space Precinct all rolled into one in the story. So I thought he would like it. And then the last time I was at a Comic-Con, I picked up one called, it was Dick Turpin one. And the guy who did that did this one. So the artwork I already know is quite good. So I'm looking forward to reading this one, see how it goes. And from the same guy,
What was
he
that
also
called?
did, that one is called The Clockwork Cavalier.
Ah,
It's basically, it's pre-cyberpunk. It's
yeah.
a clockwork man who has been recruited by the Bow Street Runners to fight crime.
All right.
So, and then the same guy basically did this one, Agents M17, or MI7, sorry. It basically, there's only one superhero,
All
and
right.
he's gone missing, and MI7 have been tasked to find him because this guy has started running amok, and he's also a metahuman, but the guy here has disappeared, and they need to find him to. So that's what that is.
I'm
It's
not
a
sure what
self-contained story.
MI7's remit actually was when that existed. There was one.
Yeah.
But
And then this one here, Storm Hunter, in the same world. They did 4 books, 4 stories, 1 world, Bold Adventures. I only picked up 2 because the other 2 he says was a wee bit ambiguous with the grey areas rather than like that. This one is Storm Hunter. It is set in Scotland, mythical Scotland, where there is kaiju, and the protectors summon kaiju to fight these wolf things. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Mhm.
And then there was a new guy. He saw my ISOM t-shirt, and I've put his link in the description. Etienne, he's created a new book, Beats of War. I looked at the animation on it, the art style, and it looks really smart, really, really crisp. So I bought the first 3 books just to have a read at. But Scotland's first black superhero. Basically, he says Ripperverse is somebody who he looks up to and he wants to be. Another Renaissance
Send it to
man.
Hamza Yusuf. He'll love it.
Aye, another Renaissance man. Basically,
Black.
aye, but the guy basically he does direct documentaries. He does music videos, and he's a big comic book fan.
Wow.
So really nice guy. I was chatting to him for ages, and that's his first 3 books. He's got another one coming out next month, and then one coming out at the end of the year. And so I'm going to give them a read and maybe a review. So that's the comics. Well, that's 90% of the comics. I'm going to keep one of the comics to the end, and we'll get to the normal stuff. So I picked up these 2. Spock Right,
Real stock.
real Spock,
Mhm.
and Kirk. I got these two as a deal because I purchased this.
Who's playing some music in the background there?
Where is it? Oh, there it's there, right in the very bottom.
Philip's got his TV up loud again.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because I picked up that Mirror Scotty unopened. So, and I was talking to the guy, and he says he had these two. These are obviously not Mirror. He says, but the quality is the same as what's in the box for these two. So I looked at these and says, if I take that and those two, you give us a deal, and he did. So, all in all,
Oh, is that the figure?
It's a figure.
Oh,
So
right.
I'm going to do a
gotcha.
box opening. I've no even the box. It's sealed. I've not touched it yet, so didn't want to actually open it until hang me. But he says the quality of the figures are similar idea to these
It's
type
weird
of quality.
that Kirk one doesn't look anywhere near as that
As
Kirk
Kirky
from
as
BBC
Spock does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
But
maybe it's because Spock's
the
got
quality of the
he
quality of the material. I mean, look at that one. It's basically got the stuff. He's communicating his phaser and his tricorder. Kirk has got a phaser, and that is it. He's only got a phaser. so that those three are my Star Trek ones, and I'm looking forward to that one. So that's going to be fun. So the Mirror Scotty is the pick of those ones, and then, as I said, I saw Zatanna, but I decided to get that instead. Classic Punisher.
Oh, the Punisher.
Does that not look cool, that model? None of these ones with a sort of washed out t-shirt. That's what the classic Punisher should look like. Black and white. Perfect. So that was, I picked that up instead of the Zatanna one. The Zatanna figure was a similar size. And then I picked up a couple of Universal monsters.
Oh, wow.
So I've already got the Creature from the Black Lagoon, and I've also got the Dracula. I've now got the Frankie.
Oh, dear God. That's not Frankenstein. That's Frankenstein's monster. They should know better than that.
Colin, have you seen both of the plays? The ones with Johnny Lee Miller alternating with Benedict Cumberbatch?
No, I haven't.
Oh, they're outstanding.
I've not seen that either.
Might still be
And
on.
I even picked up a wee Doctor Who thing.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
See, we were talking about the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah.
There you
What
go.
was the episode about the Loch Ness monster?
Terror of the Zygons.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So there you go.
Ah, the Star Wars blaster, my personal weapon.
My bad.
Yep. The wee brain.
Stain gun.
Sten.
Sorry, the Sterling. Sterling. Stand is words with the Sterling. Star Wars
I used
blaster.
to have one of them for my Action Men, so I did.
New logo.
Oh, I used to have one as well when I was in the TA. One of my trades was data telegraphist, which is basically the communications office worker. And my personal weapon was a Sterling.
Yep.
Because I was
Well,
inside.
I love that figure as soon as I saw it. And that, believe it or not, remember I said about how the prices were comparable.
Right, okay, so
you know how much would that? How much would you expect to pay for that on eBay?
Silent.
What? Have you said I've gone silent?
No.
I can't hear anything, but my sound may have gone. Can anybody else hear anything?
I can hear you, Colin, lad.
But can you hear me?
Yes.
Right, so it's no me. It must be Colin's sound. Thank Christ for that.
Oh, that's
that was
better.
shut down. Right, anyway,
Hold on.
this out of Amazon, how much would you expect to pay? UK guys, I'm not talking to Julie, so I know you're out of that one. How much would you expect to pay in the UK for something like that?
About 20 quid.
In the Comic Con, £12.
Ah.
As I said, the Comic Con wasn't ripping it. It was basically the prices were really good.
Well, you were
And that
saying
one.
there weren't as many people there, so they were probably just trying to make
Yeah.
sales.
Yeah, so they were making sales. And I picked up a couple of, I'll leave that one till later. It's a couple of Funkos. This one, I couldn't resist it. Evelyn. Masters of the Universe. I was going to do a Masters of the Universe one, but I couldn't resist Evelyn. She just
Why
looks
don't
cool.
you call Goodlin?
Eh?
Why they didn't call her Goodlin instead of Evelyn? It's a joke from Robot Chicken.
Right, and this one here, I could not resist picking it up.
Oh,
Hunt the Wabbit, Hunt the Wabbit. Elmer Fudd opera. Look at that. Does that not look cool?
oh, for peace sake.
What's wrong, Colin?
What about my sake? Are you still trying to fix your sound while you're actually talking to us? But look at that. Is that not cool? Elmer.
Yeah.
There is a range of other ones.
Oh, for
I
God's
want the
sake, what's the matter
Tasmanian
with this thing?
Devil. I actually want all of these, so I do. Eventually I will get them all. But I couldn't resist Elmer. Elmer Fudd. And it's in a protective case for a Funko, which I was surprised at.
Colin, do you want to mute your microphone if you're going to keep saying, because it sounds like you're repeating.
So, as I said, I'll actually bring this one up before I bring my McFarlane ones. I picked up this one.
Hey,
Army of Darkness.
and he comes with his boomstick.
He comes with his boomstick. He's changed on the Necro Comic Con. Seems it was at a Comic Con. You've even got Evil Ash and you've got the Possessed Witch. So there you go. Army of Darkness ones. I just couldn't resist that one. That was actually quite a nice wee set. One of the few things that I saw, which was Ash Williams. So picked up that, and that's going to come out of the box and going to sit in the shelves as well. So far, everything's going to come out of the box except the Funkos. And then I've got two McFarlane. I was going to pick this one up a couple of weeks ago, but I decided to hold off in case I saw it.
Wow.
There you go. Roman, how do you like that one? And see if I've missed any.
It's just a little out of proportion.
It is, but that's the actual typical comic book one.
Yeah.
The animated series one.
I'm just kidding.
And I think the animated series one looks better than any of the movie ones.
It almost reminds me of Mr. Incredible.
Yes, definitely. He's his belt's a wee bit whiffy. So
Yeah.
it's
Incredible before he became a dad and put on weight.
yes, definitely. But
Holy balloons back there.
is that what they are, Melvin? The Art Asylum? I think you're right, because I'm sure he mentioned the Art Asylum when I was getting them. So I'm just catching up in this. Yes, it is a phaser in Kurt's pocket. What the brand of where is he? Universal Monsters is. It is Jabba Toys. Jabba Toys Universal Monsters.
Ah.
So it is. So I need to catch up. Right, anything else? But yep. A couple of big finishes. Well, the 10th Doctor was classic companions Leela, Nyssa, Ace, and K9. Nowadays, I don't want to see them.
They were fun.
Yeah,
I enjoyed this. They were fun.
and the new monsters. I don't know.
It was Colin Baker, so it was the 6th Doctor with the Dream Crabs, and I really liked that story.
Right. Here's the one I sent Roman a picture because
To make him jealous.
Look what I picked up. Remember his most recent box opening?
Wow.
I picked that one up.
That's a big
Marvel
deal.
Legends, and it weighs a ton. It is heavy. I think that's the same one that Roman had, and I saw it over here, and I thought, oh, they've managed to get an import Hydra Stomper, and it weighs a ton. When Roman was saying how heavy it is, I remember all the other McFarlane ones but this is heavy. You can hear it. That is heavy. So I'm looking forward to doing a box opening of that one. And maybe I'll put it at the bottom of my shelf so my shelf doesn't tip forward with the weight on this thing. So that one, that was Roman's fault. I saw Roman doing it and I thought, that's a beautiful model. And I'm not a big Iron Man fan because I've seen a few Iron Man figures, but that one just looks superb. And so that's, I sent Roman the picture of that, so I knew that was coming. So I've got 4 more, and these are the big ones. So what I'm going to do is put these 2 aside and leave them to the very end. Right, Benji, don't bite it. And how about these 2 Universal monsters? Frankie and Drac. There you go. They look cool. 14-inch action figures. 14-point articulation. And there is a couple more in the set. There is the Bride of Frankenstein and the Creature from a Black Lagoon, the Mummy, and what was the other one? Wolfman. So guess what one I'm getting next? But look at them. They're going to come out the box, stand beside Ash, so Ash can fight both of them. Mm-hmm. Ash is 12-inch figure. These are 14, but for Frankie, that wouldn't be an issue. They just look cool. Change about hands. Same idea. Typical dolls. So as soon as I saw them, I said to him, much of them, and I was expecting a high price. They were fairly low. And I picked up both of them because the prices were so low. Take a guess per figure. Considering how much you know a lot of these
£10 each.
Aye, right. If I could get them what would you expect them to charge for these figures? Not what you would actually hope they would charge. Go on.
I was thinking £10 each.
Yeah.
No idea.
25 each.
Bloody hell.
And look at the size of them. They're just beautiful figures. I like my Universal monsters, so I do. You know what I mean? So that is 2, and I've got 2 more, and these are my favourite 2. Right. This one, I decided to pay a wee bit extra for a comic. Judge Dredd graded.
Oh, nice. In the Cursed Earth, I know.
Yeah, look at that. Is that not a beautiful? They had 4. One of them had the fatties, but that's very typical Judge Dredd. The other 2, they weren't, to me, didn't look Judge Dreddish. They had Dredd on them, but they just look like a very generic Judge Dredd one. Whereas this one, I mean, look at that one. Although the only thing I don't like about it, his gun. He's got it on his waist. So he has rather than his boot. It's the only thing I didn't like about that. But yeah, I mean, look.
It's also very high for a gun anyway as well.
Yeah. So it's on his waist, and I would have preferred if he still had it in his boot, because the judges always have them on the boot and they actually know how to draw them. But I picked that up. That is going to go up. I'm going to find a space. If something has to come down for this to go up, that's happening. So I've always wanted a graded comic, and it had to be a Dredd one, because there was a load of other comics, some £300-400. That wasn't. And this is the final one. And I've been looking for this one for an age. Remember we were talking about Action Men? And I says, I need to get myself a new Action Man. Well, I decided to get one. And there was a specific one I was looking for. I'm just actually fixing this wee bit. I can fix it later on. There was one I was looking for because you know I'm a big John Wayne fan. Well, there's a John Wayne Action Man from the Green Beret. Look at that.
I
As
would
soon as I
actually
saw
guess
that,
that's Green Berets, isn't it? That's John Wayne and the Green Berets.
that's exactly what it is. So I finally decided I was going to get it on eBay. It was actually cheaper by about £5 at the Comic Con. £50, and on eBay, on Amazon, it was £54.95 plus postage. So look at that model. Is that not a great one? Going to go with all my John Wayne movies. So I just need to actually, when I was bringing them up, I clipped that. It just slides in there. So it's fairly straightforward to put it back together. It's just I clipped it. But he's got his watch on, his bracelet. It just looks amazing. So I've got new toys to play with, boys and girls. Ooh, do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Where's the vampire? Whoa. Anyway, so that's my toys. That's my new toys. And did I spend too much? Nah. Did I spend a lot? But no, does that not look cool? This one here alone made my day when I got it. So it did. So John can stand up there beside Ash, fighting off the two other ones. I love that figure. So there you go. That's my Comic-Con pick. So my two favourite things, a lot of the stuff I got, I really enjoy. But my two favourite thing is Dredd and the Duke. So what do you think? Was it worth it?
Yes, it was.
Only you can decide.
Very good. Quite the haul.
It is a haul and a half. I must admit, I am so looking forward to the next Comic-Con in June. Or July. I think it's June. But there you go. That is definitely John. I saw that because I was, remember I told you before, I was always trying to find stuff that I had as a kid, and an Action Man fell into that route. And I could have bought the wee bog standard Action Man. They're 20 quid 1 week outfit, and I said nah. So I was looking for, and I saw the John Wayne one, the Green Beret one, and I wanted that one. I was going to buy it, and I thought Comic-Con's coming up, I'll put it off. It had 3. The other 2 look cool. Full American military outfit, Second World War. But when you had the Green Beret, John Wayne, I just thought that actually looked cool.
Well, it does, definitely.
It definitely does. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a shame you don't have a speaker in it, and then you could hear his voice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even his belt, I mean, these all unclip, so you can take the water bottle out.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, so there you go. That one there at the back's unclipped. So I don't want to mess around with it, but because if I do that, I could pull it too much. But you can see it's unclipped there.
Yeah.
So
The
the old thing clips. You can
as well. Yeah.
Yep. So that's my haul. So
I'm not sure why it's got a parachute clip up there, but then again, I'm not that familiar with American.
I think that's just a clip to release. This is a release clip, so it would actually drop the whole thing.
Yeah, possibly.
Well,
like,
you can take it off.
It's a carabiner, yeah. I don't know, maybe it's just a carabiner for
it's just a carabiner because look, you can just see it.
Yeah.
Aye.
Just for repelling and so on, maybe.
So I need to put it back on. I don't want to mess it around too much. There you go. Yeah, back on. So that's my figures. That's my haul. I like the McFarlane stuff. That one there's going. I'm going to do a box opening for this one. Not obviously as good as copying Roman's box opening, because he's already done this one. But there you go. So I hope you actually enjoyed my wee trip to the Comic-Con. And I was going to actually do some of my stuff there, but I've still got more stuff in the bag over there that I got at the Comic-Con. And that's over the next couple of months. They'll be released one at a time. So there you go. Between now and you cut it off again.
June, you're going to be eating an awful lot of noodles.
No. My wife's a great cook. Noodles actually will taste great.
Yeah,
But
now I'm just thinking they're nice and cheap, so you can save money for more goods.
No. She basically, my money's my money, her money's her money, our money's our money. Unless she tells me different. But that's a different story. But no, I am so looking forward to it. Truthfully, September I'm looking forward to. I'm going to take time off because the guys for Friday Night Tights are coming to Birmingham. I think they're going to Birmingham in September. They're coming to the UK in September and they're going to visit us. So don't know where exactly it's going to be and when, but I'm going to take the time off to go down.
Friday Night Tights is meeting up with Facebook?
No, the meeting as
Heel
versus Babyface.
Versus Babyface.
I'm sorry? Oh, Heel versus Babyface is also in Birmingham?
He's near.
I don't know where he is. Yeah, he's not
nearish by. He's in a small village out with it. He's not in the city centre.
Yorkshire, isn't he, I think.
So I think they were talking about maybe Birmingham or somewhere down that way to be a meet-up.
That's a meet-up with combination of Facebook, Friday Night Tights, and Heel versus Babyface.
Yeah, so, well, either way, I'm going to go down to... I'm actually aiming to go down in September just so I can go and hopefully meet up with a few guys. Might as well, because nobody's coming up to Scotland.
I haven't watched Friday Night Tights in a long time because there's just too much going on.
There is. And I watch it occasionally. I watch it maybe before I go to my bed, but because I'm usually busy over the weekend, I never usually get a chance to catch up. But being ill yesterday and this morning and stuff like that, I was up at between midnight and 4 o'clock. I caught up with it because there was nothing else on. I didn't actually want to actually have the TV on too loud, so instead of switching my computer on, I just my iPad and just sat and watched it. So I managed to catch up with it. There's still bits and pieces of it. It's a case of, I know we all do it because we've got groups. It's a wee bit of an inside joke here and there, but I actually still enjoy it mostly. The stuff they talk about, and it is fun to watch and actually hear about things that are happening in the industry. As I said, I can't remember if they were the ones that broke the thing about Funko exploding, as it were, or imploding. But there is a lot like that. So, has anybody else heard anything happening this week in the media?
Except tomorrow, obviously. Watching movies with Mr. Hyde and the gang.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm dropping my wife off early on and I'm picking her up.
You were there for Retro Doc's Choice last week. What did you think?
Say again?
You were there for Retro Doc's Choice 8.
I love that. I thought that was just so much bad fun. It was great. The Day of the Triffids is one of my favourites. I love the Day of the Triffids. But Ape, I enjoyed. I thought it was an entertaining movie.
It was so bad.
It was so bad, but it was so entertainingly bad.
Yeah, it's so bad, it's funny.
Yes. Whereas the one with the bikini, what was it? The one 3 weeks ago, the bikini one about the vampire type house, and I thought that was just bad for the sake of bad.
People getting
Whereas the kaiju one with the two dinosaurs, I thought was entertaining. I didn't think it was entertaining. I didn't think it was entertainingly bad. I thought it was entertaining. I didn't think it was bad at all. The one with the two dinosaurs on the village, on the island. I thought I enjoyed that one, but I enjoyed it because it was so bad it was good. Whereas the one about the dinosaur, what was it called? It was just called the dinosaurs. That was I mean, I enjoyed that one. I didn't think that was a bad movie at all. I thought it was enjoyable.
The more fun they are.
Aye. Oh yes, I did not denying it, having a good laugh and joke at its expense.
Yeah, Richard Doc reminds us tomorrow is hot cheerleaders.
Yes, I have. But I'm going to miss it. I'll have
spicy?
to catch up. Yeah, I'll have to catch up.
In several ways, I gather.
I heard about the new Alien movie getting announced.
Same things, but to be honest, this is another one I've got no interest in after the last ones.
Yeah, same idea.
Depending upon what they take on it and where they're coming from, they might be interesting. But
see, it's the same idea. I saw the trailer for The Evil Dead Rises, and Bruce Campbell's not in it. He's literally not in it. I checked to see if he's got any credits on it. It just mentions how it was just a continuation of the franchise. No Bruce Campbell. It's the first one without Bruce Campbell appearing. So no Bruce Campbell. So I'm not really bothered. Dinosaurs. That was what it was called. I enjoyed that one. That Dinosaurs one was fun. I didn't think it was a bad movie. I just thought it was a thoroughly entertaining movie. Considering it was a fairly cheaply done movie, I thought they did a very good job on how entertaining it was. What movie did you recommend?
It's coming next Sunday.
Right, what's it called? Are you allowed to tell us?
Well, Mr. Hyde has not announced it yet.
Right, okay. So we'll leave it then.
Yes, but it's very, very good.
Excellent.
It's got Jimmy Stewart. How bad could it be?
It's no go.
No, not the Harvey.
Not Harvey. I know.
That actually was just on this afternoon here at on our Turner Classic Movies channel.
For some reason, I was in work Thursday, and one of the guys came down and he says, you may know, there was a movie with Cary Grant about a big invisible thing. I says, Harvey, and it was James Stewart. He goes, how did you know that from the description I gave you? A big invisible thing is Harvey, and it wasn't Cary Grant, it was James Stewart. He got the person's name wrong, and he didn't even know if it was meant to be a big white rabbit. And I still managed to guess it.
Speaking of Cary Grant, I don't remember if we talked about this before, but Jason Isaacs is going to play Archie Leach in a biopic of Cary Grant.
Ah.
Yeah. And
I can't imagine him getting anywhere near his voice.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but I think it's interesting because there's a quote from Jason Isaacs years ago where he said that so many of the characters he plays are these big personalities, like
Voldemort. Oh no, that was Fines, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That was right. And Draco Malfoy's father, Lucius, was Jason Isaacs. But he's some other big evil people. And he said, and this is not, he basically said, I'm this big neurotic Jewish mess, and I'm playing all these self-assured characters. And Cary Grant was once quoted as saying, I'd like to be Cary Grant too, but I'm still Archie Leach deep inside. So I think it's actually not a bad casting.
I know, but it's just the voice. You look at some
Well,
like
the
it
voice
hot.
is going to be interesting.
Yeah, you look at some like it hot where Tony Curtis does his very good Cary Grant voice when he's playing the rich playboy.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I can't imagine it getting changed too
Well,
much.
we'll see.
I'm hoping it'll be good. I'm actually.
I would love to do a Cary Grant film festival.
No, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And
I've
Mr. Landings builds his dream house, and Philadelphia Story. There's so many.
Well, I've got the Cary Grant collection, so I have.
He was brilliant.
Oh, aye, definitely.
Bringing Up Babies is wonderful.
Now that is a fun one. Or what do you call her? Was in it with him? Audrey Hepburn.
Which one?
Was that not Bringing Up Baby? Audrey Hepburn.
No, that's Katharine Hepburn.
Katharine Hepburn. Sorry,
Great
Katharine Hepburn. I got the Hepburn right. At least I was half there.
She's in 2 movies with him. She was in Bringing Up Baby with him and Philadelphia Story. And Philadelphia Story also starred Jimmy Stewart.
Yes. I'm trying to think. There was. Oh, I know what Mr. Hyde's is. I remember getting mentioned. The Jimmy Stewart and Cary Grant, and I think somebody's actually just given it away, didn't they?
He was in a movie. He was in a movie with Audrey Hepburn. Oh God, what was the name of it? It was the one in Rome. She's a princess.
Oh, that's basically.
Holiday.
That's the one he does his
Holiday.
hand. He does his hand, puts his hand in, and gives it as if it's getting eaten.
Wasn't she in Holiday too?
Could have been.
No, because Retrodoxa said she was in Charade with him, but I could have sworn she was also in Holiday.
Bugger, I keep on actually fixing this.
Roman Holiday, that's the name of it.
Roman Holiday. That's the one where he pretends to get his hand eaten by the gargoyle in Rome. So it is. Remember? Nobody remember that bit in Roman Holiday.
I'm sorry?
The bit where he pretends to get his hand eaten. The legend is that if you put your hand in, if you tell a lie, it will bite your hand off. And he puts his hand in and says something to her, and then he pretends that his hand's been bitten. That was Roman Holiday.
You're right, it is Gregory Peck. My apologies. I love Gregory Peck too.
Oh, Gregory Peck's superb as well. The problem is there were the actors of the heyday you're never getting back. No matter what people say about things like Tom Cruise and stuff like that. Sorry. No way they're going to be anywhere near as good as.
There was an article, I don't remember what paper, years and years ago, about actors, and it lends itself to normal people too, but actors in the 30s, 40s, 50s versus actors now. And they showed Cary Grant at the same age that Matthew Broderick played a high school kid in Ferris Bueller. Meanwhile, Cary Grant was already this suave leading man.
Yeah, and that's the difference, because they're always trying to actually what they actually want to actually have. Like you look at Mickey Rooney playing a high school kid. Remember, he played the high school kid and stuff like that.
In a bunch of movies.
Yankee Doodle Dandy. Remember?
Yeah, Judy Garland too.
Yeah. So they played them, but you never had. Then he would play in another movie where he's suddenly this tough guy, and it actually worked because they didn't actually, even though you could see Mickey Rooney wasn't that young to play that role, but he gave the impression. He acted as if he could. He was in the right position. Whereas then he would play like Angels, not Angels with Dirty Faces, that was Jimmy Cagney, but he would play those type of roles where he was a tearaway, or he was actually a criminal. And he actually was believable as the criminal. Same idea. And I think a lot of these ones, James Cagney, he could play with Bob Hope, right? Dancing on the tables and stuff like that. Then he could go and play a gangster. And both of them, you could actually go, wow, he is so absolutely really good at that. That you could actually see him playing both parts without actually batting an eyelid. Whereas now, you see somebody playing a good guy, they don't want to play a bad guy, even though they probably would enjoy it. Because who was it that said that he enjoys playing bad guys because it's the ones that are more versatile? You can put a lot more of yourself into a bad guy character than a good guy. Because a good guy, you have to actually be the good guy. Whereas a bad guy, you could be a good guy, a bad guy, an indifferent guy, whatever. And I think that's the difference. Whereas you had actors that could fit into any role. James Stewart, he played in a Western. Was it Who Shot Liberty Valance? It was that was. He played the sheriff. Remember, the son of the sheriff didn't let you carry a gun, and they were all having a laugh and joke at his expense until somebody throws him the gun, and he actually says, "I don't really like to use these." He says, shoot," and he actually, from like twice the distance where the guy was standing, he shot 5 knobs off a barrel above a ring, and they all looked at him, and he says, "I don't like using them. Didn't say I can't use them." And he hands it back to the guy, and the guy just stops winding him up after that because he realised that the reason he's not shooting him is because he doesn't want to, not that he can't. And that changes it. It changed it. So, yeah, I like the movies, the classic movies for that type of thing. The new Alien is going to be directed by Fez, who going to direct Don't Breathe, an Evil Dead remake from a couple of years ago. They weren't bad movies. Downside is they're owned by Disney. See, I saw the trailer for Evil Dead and I'm not keen on it because Bruce Campbell's not on it. But
don't forget, you got to remember, PJs, the likes of Cary Grant, and they all came out of the old studio system, so they had they were managed, they planned, they were put in the roles, they were given progression to become more and more and more. I don't know what you're talking about, Audrey Hepburn, though. I mean, she can't in any films because every female role ever has been was Jennifer Lawrence, and she's not that old.
Good point.
I mean, there were no female roles before Jennifer Lawrence was born.
No. There was no female action roles before Jennifer Lawrence.
This is true.
So Calamity Jane didn't exist.
Annie Oakley,
yeah.
Jane Fonda.
Lion in Winter, Eleanor of Aquitaine.
Yeah.
He's as close to a medieval action hero as you're going to get.
She's my favourite. Go to example, and they say women never had any power. There's a lady called Eleanor Aquitaine would like. I've got a list of people who'd like to address you on that question, led by one Eleanor of Aquitaine. She's got a few ladies. She's got a few other queens behind her.
Eleanor is possibly my favorite historic personality. Oh, good God.
Right.
Keep them coming.
No. Keep them coming. Grant Alone. Come on.
Which is the button for block again?
I think you hit the 3 dots. I was so tempted to bounce.
Put user in time out.
Now, let me see when that movie with Jason Isaacs is coming out.
Destiny Rides Again. Is that what the one was with James Stewart? Destiny Rides Again.
Oh, they have pictures.
I think he was in that.
Pictures.
I had
anything like them. Whatever.
I've got a few things to watch and listen to now. I've got I have no idea why, but you know these things sometimes turn up. I had in my YouTube feed gave me a clip from years and years ago, from I think the 70s, of Carl Sagan appearing before a congressional committee talking about climate change, global warming.
They pop up every so often because.
Well, no, the thing is, no,
it's the same argument.
Well, no, the thing is, I haven't seen this yet because it's Carl Sagan, so I'm going to listen to see what he says. But then, of course, so as soon as I click on that one, the algorithm, I've now got about 5 Carl Sagan lectures to watch and listen to.
Yeah.
I can think of much worse ways to spend the day than listening to Carl Sagan talk about science. So I'm happy there.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm actually just sitting here. I'm actually, if you pardon the expression, playing with my John Wayne. Actually.
Is that a new euphemism?
Bow shaka wow.
Too much.
No, it's not.
I was basically fixing the strap for the rifle. So now the
Which movie is that from?
This Green Beret.
Hmm.
Green berets for breakfast.
Yeah, me, I actually have Frosties. Yeah, I mean, you're obviously tasting a wee bit different from mine.
The Green Berets.
You cut. I told you, you need to stop making speeches because you says
Not-
the Green Berets. Boom, that was it.
Well, it's because I've got this crap internet of mine. The not the theme tune from the film, but there's another. There was a chap called Barry Sadler, who was a Green Beret. He actually wrote some of my favourite military fiction novels, which are the Casca novels. But he also did. He had a hit called the Ballad of the Green Berets, and it's an absolutely fantastic song for 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. You can listen to it, and it's a really good celebration of the Green Berets. But for a Brit, it's really great for taking the mickey, because what the British military loves to do is take the mickey out of the American military. Respectfully, it's got lines like of men who fight by night and day, extolling the Green Berets, obviously special forces. One line is men who fight by night and day, to which any British soldier would say, "Oh, you mean like the British do?" It's great. It's a fantastic song for 2 reasons. I say it's a fantastic song just as a celebration of American military excellence, and it's also a great one for taking the mickey out of at the same time. Unfortunately, that's not the theme tune to the film.
Especially what Kenny Everett did.
Well, yes.
General Cheeseburger. I can't beat that guy.
I need a cheeseburger.
No, I won't start lecturing on about the history of the word cheeseburger. I won't do it. Interesting, linguistically interesting as it is, I won't do it.
Cheeseburger.
No, it's as I understand it, it's a direct. See, I said I wasn't going to do this, didn't I? It's a direct line from why we call burgers burgers.
Well, they're from
Okay.
it's
Very,
short
very
burger, which is from Hamburg, but we don't eat people.
exactly. Very simply, someone burger.
I'm Berliner.
Yeah, exactly. So John F. Kennedy was a donut, which is why someone put a hole in him.
He was a donut.
But basically, the short story is we heard the word hamburger came into English from German. We didn't know what we didn't necessarily know what Hamburg was. The obvious word there was ham. So it's a burger made of ham. So a burger becomes a meat patty. Right? We go on. Then apparently when cheeseburgers came in, what went down to South America was the most popular was cheeseburgers. So in South America, any sort of burger is called a cheesy, even when it's got cheese on it or not. That's the short. That's the short story.
We need a cheeseburger.
Okay,
Bacon
now,
cheeseburger.
now I think he's gone quiet again.
Who is?
It's me. I
PJ.
switched my mic off. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
It's basically because I was anyway. It's Mork and Mindy did it better because Robin Williams used to have a ham sandwich because he would have 2 bits of ham with a bit of bread in the middle.
Ah,
Because it's a ham sandwich, not a bread sandwich.
yeah.
It's like an old, it's because the French have the Académie Française where they tell people they can't use anglicisms,
Yes.
where they call weekend la fin de la semaine, and sandwich. They wanted to try 2 morceaux de pain avec quelque chose au milieu, which did not. I don't know if this is apocryphal. It probably is, but it still makes for a good story. Is that in German they didn't like calling windows das Fenster because that's Latin, and even the Germans drew the line at a hole in the wall that the light comes through. Again, I don't know if
it's the same as Gaelic language has never had a new word added to it in the last 100 years.
Well, not a whole lot of people speak Gaelic.
Yes, but even at that, there's still not been new words added to it. So when computers were invented, it's computer. It was they never actually there wasn't a Gaelic language, Gaelic word for it.
Oh, wow.
So it's basically facsimile television.
Right. Well, a few years ago, there was a piece written in the New York Times. I don't normally read the New York Times, but this was back when I did, so just telling you how long ago it was. There was a piece written that was in perfectly grammatical German that was completely understandable to anybody who doesn't speak German, because it was all technical about computers and software and discs and all this stuff, and it was all English. But it was in perfectly grammatical German.
But that's the thing. There's Waka, she should be able to tell me this. One of my friends, he came up. I had to fix his computer, and he had to stand over me because he would. It was all in Japanese, and he would say, "This means this. This means that." And then he would read it out, and then he would translate it to me. And the only words I recognised was things like, "Oh, that is there. Whatever it was, facsimile," and that was right. That's your fax program. I says, so it's obviously there's still some English words in there because, and I found that entertaining because we've still got some words we'll get German words or French words in the English language because language naturally evolves for certain languages.
English is
some people try and actually make it actually so you can evolve, but because things like not having to want to have a sandwich, you have to have whatever it is in French. Which, sorry, I want to use a quick word when I'm actually ordering something quick.
Yeah.
Well, in French Canada, they're also very fascist when it comes to maintaining the purity of their language.
You don't need to put the word French in there.
Right. But on
Canada's fascist.
The mere mortal, good point. The mere mortals, the average French Canadian in Quebec will say something like "Checkez-moi les breaks."
Yeah. The same people. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've
a whole bunch of franglais going on.
Well, I remember years and years and years ago, decades ago, I took a stab at doing a linguaphone course in Hebrew. I didn't get that far with it, but I
lived in France at the time. That was interesting.
But the one bit I remember is that the Hebrew for television and radio was television e radio. Literally, the word was literally just taken.
Yep.
Well, the word for incense
accent that comes from speaking.
From what I gather, in Hebrew, the modern Hebrew, because they don't speak biblical Hebrew there. The word for marijuana is the biblical word for incense. I could be wrong, but that's what I read.
Wow.
But it's the same idea. These words are adapted because
Where's kids?
I mean, It's words right across the board, because you look at, remember, we all grew up and we would read about places getting hit by tidal waves. Now oh God, the words just disappeared. They're not called tidal
Tsunami?
waves anymore. Tsunamis. They basically, it's now a tsunami. But see, when I first heard that, I'm sitting there thinking, what's a tsunami?
Yeah.
And they would say, oh, it's a tidal wave. Why didn't we still call it tidal wave? It's just, it's what it is now. It's actually, and so the words have changed. So
Well,
we've introduced a more descriptive word to the English language, which isn't an English word.
Yeah, well, English
So-
is like that more than anything else.
Yes, of course it is.
English
That's
is
what
like a
I'm saying.
black hole.
Makes English great is that we do take all these other languages words.
Yep. Any language you can actually speak, we'll take a bit of it and actually screw it up. No problem.
Well, we keep some of them intact, like Schadenfreude.
Yeah,
I know, no. English may actually do that, but in Scotland, we'll take anything and screw it up.
well, yeah.
Schadenfreude. Yeah, I mean, so
When I was at university in France, I took a Colin will appreciate this. I took a course on La Chanson de Roland, Song of Roland, and the book we read, the textbook, was modern French on one side, 10th century French on the other.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it was not as far apart as 10th century English and modern English, because 10th century English was effectively a dialect of German.
Yeah, it's Anglo-Saxon.
Right. But 10th century French is not even close to being as different. It was, except the funny thing is the professor looked at me and he said, I'd like la petite américaine to tell me what this particular word means. And it's pronounced remembrer. Remember.
Yeah.
They don't use that in French anymore. They use se souvenir or se rappeler. But this was remembrer. And, anybody who had learned English would have known it.
Yeah.
But who knew that was a word in 10th century French?
you just didn't remember. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, even I wasn't around in 10th century France. My French is more likely to be 13th to 14th century
Have you
French.
ever
I know
heard
it.
Quebecois French?
Probably, but not that I've noticed. I mean, it's been a very long time since I actually spoke French.
Okay, because it's the way, because I also took 16th century French at university because I majored in French.
Wow.
And they put a lot of S's where we now have accents. The accent grave, or rather the accent aigu, usually takes the place of an S. And the circumflex quite often takes the place of an S, like chateau, it would become like chasteau or castle.
All right.
And so anyway, in Montreal, they keep a lot of the old spellings. Or they'll pronounce a lot like they do in Southern France. Like instead of the word français, they'll say français or la France, which is slightly different than the way they would pronounce it in Paris.
Viva.
Les Belles France.
Final E on a lot of things. Like in Northern France, a scoop of ice cream is une boule de glace. In Southern French, it's une boule de glace.
It's the same as Scottish and English.
Language talking French, isn't it?
Absolutely. Or various dialects in American English.
Yeah,
Well,
you look at it, like for instance, you would have a half of cup of tea. We would have a half a cup.
I wouldn't, but
No, but I'm saying is you would have a half a cup. I would have a half
I'd have
a
a cup
cup.
of, I'd have a mug of coffee. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, exactly. Well,
It's all to do. It's different parts of the same. Even if the language is the same, there's colloquialisms. Like in Scotland, if you go up north, right, it's not as prevalent now because language is actually starting to blend more. But I remember years ago when I was probably in my 20s, I heard a conversation and it was about the loon and Klein and she was coughing. And I'm going, huh? Oh, that poor, that wee Loon and Klein, she's coughing and I'm sitting there thinking, what's a Loon? What's a Klein? Well, a Loon's a boy and a Klein's a girl, and she's coughing. She's pregnant.
Oh, I thought we said coughing. Oh, right.
Coughing,
German for
as in
smoke.
calf, as in calf.
What
Not one of you's even caught that. Come on. I said calf, and then I went bah.
Oh,
not one of them said
carving. Yeah. So yeah, when you say carving, yeah, yes. No, so when you
so she was calfing, so that was pregnant. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's in the same country, less than 2 hours drive away, and they use completely different words for the same thing.
Well,
and you're sitting there thinking,
that's one of the things that's going to be.
Yeah.
If you sort of step back a little bit and look at
Melvin, that's exactly where the area I was talking about up north at the Aberdonian side and basically Inverness, because I used to stay up by Inverness. So,
well, yeah, I mean, you've got this thing. There are several influences. I mean, one of the reasons why English in particular has some very, very weird spellings is because for most of history, most of the language people spoke was purely spoken. It wasn't written down. So you had no set spellings.
Right.
So you had words like the medieval version, like a medieval, like a shining on a horse was a knicht.
Right.
Right. That's changed. That has now been changed to knight, but we still spell it knicht because the writing stays the same while the pronunciation changes.
Well, French is that way too. I mean, they don't pronounce half their syllables.
Yeah, and you've probably got.
But you can see the etymology in the word.
Yeah. Well, you've probably got that even more so now. International communications with film and TV and the internet, which is why I say actually no. English is not the most international language. American English is, because a lot of that influence comes from American culture and American
Anglosphere in general. I mean, I'm not to brag, but I think a lot of it is the Anglosphere in general because, unfortunately, let me go back. Fortunately, what is great about Western civilization comes from the Anglosphere. England, Great Britain, the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. What's great about the Western civilization now in the 19th, 20th, and 21st centuries comes from us. But we're also so far to the left in that we're destroying ourselves from within. Our countries are further to the left than a lot of other countries.
Yeah.
And we're destroying ourselves.
Definitely. But I mean, it's like air traffic control across the globe is in English. There's a joke. I remember, which goes back. It must go back a long time, but it's supposedly an overheard air traffic communication. And it goes something along the lines of from the airplane. Guten Abend, Hamburg. Hier ist Lufthansa 123. Air traffic control Hamburg comes back. Good evening, Lufthansa 123. Could I remind you, please, to speak English? And the pilot comes back and says, I am a German pilot on a German national airline on an internal German flight. Why do I have to speak English?
He's a good question.
And then another voice comes over the radio, because you lost the war.
Ooh.
Oh, there's a better one than that.
There was actually discussion here in the US when we were, throwing you guys out.
Yeah.
That they might adopt German as the national language. And as somebody who's half German and who's, kind of ashamed of some of what a lot of what Germany did, I'd much rather be an English speaker than a German speaker.
Yeah.
Even though I did take German at university because I wanted to be able to understand what my grandparents were saying when they didn't want us to understand.
Well, the weird thing is when I learned. I mean, I'm fortunate in that I had the kind of brain that actually is reasonably good with languages. I mean, I did French for 9 years, German for 4, and I still think my German's better. But I remember when I was trying to learn Dutch, and I kept slipping into German. Wakizashi, you've done it again. You are about to push another button. Do you remember what happened when you mentioned Doctor Who last weekend and we went on for another 3 hours? I could go on for 3 hours exactly answering your question.
Start the clock.
As Kelly's just started answering it. Yes.
Did you ever see Melvin Bragg's series on the history of English?
I've got the book somewhere. I think I did see it. Yes.
I've got the book, but also the series is excellent.
Yes. Because I've got a lot. I've got a lot of those. Because I've got a lot.
It's not available on DVD or anything.
Because I quite like John McWhorter's lectures on English as well.
He's very good too at great courses. But there's also a Canadian guy named Robin McNeil who did a series about 35 years ago. And you can find it on YouTube, but the quality's terrible. It's called The Story of English, and it's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, I've got several of those ones. Yes,
talking about this unremarkable Anglo-Saxon dialect that became the world's second language.
Yeah, it's a fascinating story. I mean, it's someone, but yes, it was used in the royal courts. It's interesting if you like I said, this is something I quite literally have talked for hours about at weekends at shows. Yes, you take for one of the examples quite often used is food.
Glorious food.
Yeah, the food on your plate. If you know French and German, the food on your plate is French, or is descended from French. The animals that the food comes from tend to be Anglo-Saxon words.
Exactly. Right.
You've also
French, sheep is English. Lamb is French, sheep is English.
The original English language would be Anglo-Saxon, which is where it comes from. Angles. Right. English was Angles. Right. Would have been the Anglo-Saxon that came over after the Roman Empire pulled back.
I've got a book on the history of Indo-European, which I really do need to read.
Oh, yes. I mean, because there were two big language families in Europe, one of which is Romance, which is the ones descended from the Romans, and one of which is Germanic, which is the one descended from the non-Romans, basically, because Germania was anywhere Europe that wasn't Roman. And the language is, that's why you can tell. Somewhere like France, which was Italy, obviously, which was well within the Roman sphere, the language is descended mainly from Latin. Some like Germany, which wasn't, the language descended from Anglo-Saxon. Celtic would have been go again. Sorry, Celtic would have been the original one. Yeah, it gets pushed out. That's why you get the Celtic fringe. So you get Scotland's Gaelic, if I remember correct, if I get these the correct way round. Scottish Gaelic, Irish Gaelic, Welsh as a connection as well. You get the Gaelic gets pushed out, and also down to Brittany.
Don't forget
yes, Cornish as well. Cornish is also.
I was watching when I was watching Paradise last night. Yes, I know it takes place in Devon and it's filmed in Cornwall, but the music that they play for the opening credits, I know it's supposed to be Celtic sounding, but it sounds Cajun French.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because you look at the country or country, a lot of country, but it's not a bluegrass. Is basically English.
Mm-hmm.
He's old.
Definitely Scots Irish, because the people who developed bluegrass, their ancestors came from Ulster. A lot of them came from Ulster.
Yeah, you've got to be because
Thank you, Melvin. Melvin,
Yep.
deeply. Thank you.
Max as well, thank you. Yes, the entire Celtic fringe where it gets pushed out. It is. I mean, for someone like me and Kelly, obviously, it's fascinating the way the whole thing changes. The way it just picks everything up and it changes. The reason things come in. The reason we pick up a lot of French. I mean, the last major influence on English is actually which words you might not necessarily is. No, it's not American. It's actually the other way. It's Indian, Pakistani. Words like putty, curry, things like that, which come or was the major influence where we absorb words from a foreign language because we used those and we adopted them. I mean, it's something I would.
Also, you guys have picked up words that we've used here that come from Native Americans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Like powwow or, Eskimo or igloo. I mean, people around,
TP.
there's other words. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We did. I mean, we pick it up because
People here in America are picking up British words and phrases too. I mean, I've always picked them up, but for example, the word roundabout, when I was growing up, nobody called it a roundabout. It was always called a traffic circle.
Yeah.
Now people are calling them roundabouts, and it's almost completely.
Well, in Scotland, basically there is one East Kilbride is called Parliament City because they've got that many of them.
Wow.
Parliaments. You know what a parliament is, don't you? Well, Colin knows what a parliament is. Julie, do you know what a parliament is?
No.
It's a circular mint with a hole in it. A polo.
Oh, polo, absolutely, polo mints. Yeah, we call them lifesavers here.
Yeah, well, basically, over in the UK, there's the East Kilbride used to be known as the Parliament City because they didn't have traffic lights. It was all roundabouts.
Wow.
Basically, then they realised that it was that busy, they had to put lights on the roundabouts. So a lot of the roundabouts have got lights on them now.
Mm.
But that's what it was known as because right at the beginning, they didn't have lights. They just had roundabouts everywhere. And it just became... Because instead of having crossing parts, they had... Underneath the road, they had the bits for people to actually cross the road. So
and underpass.
So, but it just goes to show things, as you said, things change as you're watching it. It's you pick up language, and as we said, Americanisms are becoming more prevalent across the globe, and it's because that's where
everybody watches our movies and TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I don't watch American movies and TV. I watch British movies and TV.
It's just one of those things.
I mean, there are days where there are entire weekends where if I'm by myself, like the other weekend when I was not feeling well a couple of weeks ago, and when I heard an American accent, I did a double take because I spent the entire weekend listening to British people speaking.
There you go. We started with the Celtic languages like Welsh, then Romans came and gave us Latin, then the Saxons German, then the Vikings Norway and Denmark, then the Normans French.
Forget, Norman French has Norway and Denmark influence.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's why we've never been invaded by the French.
Just in language.
I'm standing by, and it's an Englishman with a bow. I'm standing by that.
I mean, you need to watch because remember, there's
better get hot
line.
with it.
What's this? I'm actually hearing a scene chat about Beyond Paradise.
Yeah.
What we're talking about Beyond Paradise. Did I miss it?
Wakazashi asking what Geeky stood for. So
Right.
Rock was telling him.
Chris Marshall's not the only one that crossed over the Star Wars universe. Mickey from Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's in Star Wars? Which one?
He was the one no. Sorry, Star Trek. He was in.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Star Trek.
He was the guy. Remember who got Khan convinced him to blow up the thing with.
Oh, he was. Yes, he was, wasn't he?
That was
Yeah.
Mickey.
Yeah.
Hey Mickey, you're so fine. You're so mean. You blew up everything. Yeah. Well, I think that's another thing as well. See, music,
dear God.
Music, right? My daughter, you're talking about a good few years ago when the Mickey was re-released, and my daughter was she was saying, me and my dad were sitting there. They re-released Hey Mickey. Right, I can't remember who did it, and she was saying, "Oh, there's this new song out, and it's called Hey Mickey." So I started singing it, and then she says, "How do you know that?" I says, "Because Tony Basil released it when I was young." And then my dad started singing it. I says, "How did you know it?" He says, "Because Tony Basil's was a re-release when I was a teenager."
Really?
It was out.
Oh, Mickey's not from the 80s?
Well, no. See, when Tony Basil did it, my dad was born in the 30s, so in the 50s, 60s, Mickey was out, and it was so Tony Basil re-released it. So when I was in my 20s, Tony Basil released Hey Mickey.
I remember
when
that.
my daughter was in her 20s, it got re-released. But accordingly, Hey Mickey was a re-release of something from the 60s.
I'm looking that up because I don't remember it from the 60s.
I think we need to put Retro Dog in timeout. He's gone beyond the pale there.
No, he's gone beyond the beyond DeLorean.
Exactly. He's gone way beyond, way crossed over all sorts of boundaries. He's gone way beyond the edge.
Into the infinity.
Yes, and beyond.
Okay, let's see. Baby Tate. Oh, Hey Mickey, you're
oh dear. No, there you go. That's a crossover for you. Toy Story.
Tony Basil.
I was thinking the other Into Infinity because it was the name of a TV show, Jerry Hansen one.
Yep, with Brian Blessed and Nick Tate. Did you see that thing that was
Yes, I did.
Yep, I thought you might have done.
What was Brian Blessed in recently?
No, it's an old. There was the Jerry Anderson have got their own YouTube channel, and there was a way back when I think it was actually between Seasons of Space 1999. They made several spin-offs or several pilot shows which never came to anything. And one of them was called Into Infinity, and it starred Brian Blessed and Nick Tate from Space 1999.
I will never forget Brian Blessed as Richard IV.
I want to get Brian Blessed on our show.
Right, Julie.
Yes, sir.
Mickey, originally titled as Kitty, is a song recorded by American singer and choreographer Tony Basil for her debut studio album, Word of Mouth, in 1981.
I remember it.
It was first recorded by a group called Racy. Mike Chapman and Nicky Chin wrote the song, while production was held by Greg Masterson and Trevor Veach. And I think that was actually, it's saying it was first released in 1979, so 2 years later, she re-released it. But my dad said he'd actually heard it years before that, so I'm trying to actually see. But it was definitely a re-release, so unless Kitty...
I don't see it.
Yeah, you saying that? Yeah, that sounds right. Gary, that's what this.
Kitty was by Racy in 1979.
Okay, here it is, Racy, 1979. I'm gonna have to check this out when you're done.
Yeah.
Oh, Matheson. Okay, I thought you said Masterson. My bad.
Right. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, I see it. I'm looking at it. I'll check it out later.
Yeah. But no,
No,
see,
I remember
it's just,
it. I remember
when my dad told me about it, he says it was a re-release, but he says he heard it when he was young. So he's obviously being a male relation, he's probably wrong anyway. Because my mum, my 3 sisters, my 3 daughters, and my granny and my aunties and all that probably agreed with that. It was wrong. And they didn't know anything about music, but he did. But they obviously knew he was wrong because he was my dad.
Wow.
But then again, we know when to shut our mouth. Although I never learned very well. Just before any of you say so. And anyway, who says, wait a minute, where's my mouse? Who says he looks like an Ewok?
Me. I'm the one who said it.
Yeah, I know, because I'm going to get to an Ewok costume for Halloween.
Yorkies.
I'm going to get you to an Ewok costume so you can stoat around like wee Ewoks and get you recorded for the YouTube channel. Eh?
You look like
We'll have a conversation. The two of you talking to each other in Ewok. We'll just get somebody to write a conversation for the two of you actually messing around.
Playing Ewok.
Yeah. Right, so you want to go down there?
He is so cute.
The problem is he knows it. He knows it.
Which one is that?
That's Benji.
Okay. Is he the one who has epilepsy?
No, that's Buddy.
Oh, sorry.
Benji's just a nutcase. Aren't you? You're just a nutcase and you're jealous because I'm eating a tea cake. Tea cake.
I like Malamar's better.
No. Tunnock's tea cake. Yum, yum, yum.
I have them, but the reason I like Malamar's better is because they're dark chocolate and there's more chocolate. It's thicker. It's a thicker.
That's why I like tea cakes, because there's not as much chocolate and it's off. Boom.
No,
Yum, yum, yum.
I prefer.
At least this week my camera seems to be holding off. Although I've got a spare, and I've got another spare plugged in, just to make sure it doesn't go bing again like it did in West.
Yes.
Yeah, getting kicked off my own stream because it says camera not detected, and I couldn't even actually switch it to my the virtual camera, which I've got running via OBS. It wouldn't even let me switch to that because my camera was plugged in. So as far as it says a camera's plugged in, you need to connect via the device. It's weird. So it is. I hate computers. Anybody want a job? I'm telling you, anytime somebody actually messes with me, I just keep on handing them a pen, a piece of paper, and a rubber, and say, "Here you go. That's your original computer."
It's funny you say that because, being old or classic, kids don't know how to do arithmetic without a calculator.
Yep.
And if you press the wrong button and you don't know how to do it on paper or in your head, you're not going to know if you're wrong.
Yep.
I mean,
It was
I added up a column of numbers recently, and I said, because I typed them into my calculator, and I was like, this just doesn't look right. And sure enough, it wasn't. But if you don't know what it is, you're not going to believe. You're not going to be wrong.
Colin will be able to remind me of this, or Alec. Is it a Heinlein movie book about it was a guy who was brought in because he could do things nobody else could since the age of technology started. And they would say, "How do you do it?" He says, "I just do it in my head." And they couldn't understand it. So the whole part of the book is all about how they didn't it was short stories, so they didn't understand how he could do this miraculous thing. So, and then at the end, they says, "Right, we'll test you." So the guy's got standing with like an iPad, and he's going, "Right, what is 7 plus 4? And the guy would type it in, and the answer would come up, and he would tell them, and he says, "How did you work that out?" Because technology has just superseded. People knew how to type it in, and the answers is what they were given.
When I
And
was,
if they just didn't know even basic stuff
I know,
like adding 2 and 2, they didn't know what that was.
right?
And
And
it was
if you press the wrong
really-
key, you're going to get it wrong, and you won't know.
Yeah. Because they tested them because they needed them because of something, and it was all to do with the fact is this man was a genius because he could add up in his head with a calculator. It wasn't multiplication or anything, it was just simple addition they were doing, and they were all amazed with them because technology has taken that away from
It's
everybody.
become a crutch, not a tool.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when I was in high school, it was, long enough ago that calculators were desktop only.
Hmm.
And they were huge. And I remember one of the kids in my math class, said to the teacher, my dad has one of these new calculators. Can we use it? And the teacher said something that has stuck with me to this day. If you don't know how to do it on your own, you'll never know if you make a mistake on the calculator.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, if you're adding 2 + 2 and by accident your finger hits 4, you're going to think 2 + 2 is 6. And you're not going to care.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like making change. I used to work at a cashier, and I know how to make change because you count backwards.
Yes.
If somebody hands you a $10 bill or a 10-pound note now that you're on decimal, and the bill is only $2.43, you say, okay, 57.
I know how to subtract.
57, to make it 3, and 4, 5, and 5 is 10. They don't know how to do that.
No. Well,
They don't know how to do it now.
it's carried to an extreme. I mean, I've been reading recently. I've been reading novels, and there's one of the things for anybody who's not familiar. One of the things with a 40K universe is they don't know how technology works. They've lost it. They think they literally say their prayers when they're doing thing and this sort of thing, rubbing the right oils and all the rest of it. There's a bit in one of the second or third short story of the original Foundation books by Asimov, where that's starting to happen within the Empire. And what the Foundation do is they mask their ability to do these things in as a religion.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So they know it's not a religion. They are using religion. They know what the technology is. They know exactly how a nuclear reactor works. Yes, it is. There's something similar in Dune as well. I suspect they may have possibly got the idea from Asimov. What they do is where they have a priesthood, and basically the only people that actually know the actual truth are people from the Foundation. All the priests and the rest of it, they train as priests. So the priests have no idea what to do if
They
anything
just think
goes
it's
wrong.
a religious right.
They have no idea what to do if something goes wrong because they lost the knowledge of how to do it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're saying, Kenny, I remember I was in the shop in Smith's years ago, buying a couple of things, and I managed to add up what they were going to be before the girl put them in the till and got the answer back from the till.
But the thing is, as well, I've noticed. I actually noticed when I was at college, when they used to call it an open book test, and we were sitting there thinking, "What's an open book test?" They says, "Well, in the real world, nobody would ask you a load of questions and expect you to get the answer. They would expect you to go and look up the answer. So an open book test is you get the test, and then you'll have access to your books and the internet to go and find the answer."
Harder.
And to me, that makes it too simple. Because yes, as long as we're all trained how to go and look for information, but we should still know the basics.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, for instance, yeah, I don't know how to do a square root of something. Well, within reason, I can do a square root of.
I mean,
can do
I
square root
haven't
of.
had open book tests. I mean, one of them, for example, was in library school because nobody in the real world has memorized the Dewey Decimal System out to the 10th or 15th decimal place.
No.
So that was an open book test, and it wasn't easy.
But the thing is, they
But
were starting to do it with IP.
They make them harder because if you still only have an hour, you have to know the material, so you don't have to waste 50 minutes looking for it.
Whereas
still
I
got
was
to know
getting
where
it
to
in
look.
IP, and it was basically, to me, they should have actually had a test with the basics and then have an open book test for more harder questions. But these open book tests were basic questions as well. And I'm sitting there thinking,
that's ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking they're effectively turning around and saying tests are a thing of the past. We are changing it so now you'll not get tested. You'll just get told how to find information and then just ask the question and then allowed to go and find the answer from somebody else.
Yeah, the
And I'm
test
sitting
isn't
there
on the
thinking,
information. The test is in your information retrieval.
exactly.
You don't know.
So they were
Which
asking
is-
questions. You found a question, and they were basically, if you put the answer that you found on a page in your answer, that's not even a case of understanding it and putting it in your own words. They were quite happy you to copy it because you found the information.
Yeah.
That's okay if the information is right, but how do you know if the information is right if you don't understand it?
Yeah.
But it's nuts. I've done the same when I laugh and joke. One of the girls who comes up for sandwiches, and she'll sit there and she'll go, and she'll tell us the price and go doot, 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 puts it in, or somebody gives her money and she'll count it and give them it back. And one of the girls is saying, wouldn't it be easier with a calculator? And she says, but I can add up.
Yeah.
I don't need a calculator to do adding. And the girl just looked at us as if to say, you're nuts because it's easier. And you're sitting there thinking, that's the whole attitude. And it's probably about similar ages as to me. It's a case of, yeah, I might not be great at maths or English or whatever, but I know the basics. So I can work it out without the need of technology. So if I need to write something, I know my spelling might be off, but I can still write it down so people can understand it, even if the spelling's off here and there. Or if I'm writing something down, they can actually see if I write the answers down, they know I've actually did the basics. So like, if I have to multiply it, I'll have a times and then I'll have the long division and long multiplication and the.
Now that's something I can't do. Is long division. I must admit.
I can do long division, but it's the fact is, it's a case of people are actually sitting there thinking, "You've got a phone in your pocket. Why don't you just use the calculator?"
I don't understand algebra.
Well, like I said, I mean, in your daily life, do you ever use algebra?
No.
Actually, all the time.
I do.
Yeah, you may do. Yeah, it depends if you do it.
You do, because you think about it. Algebra is basically its functions, but the basics of algebra is your old 2a times 3b equals whatever, right? So they're basically, that's like somebody saying you've got 2 bunches of grapes and you've got 2 apples. How many have you got? You still got, including the grape and the apple.
Yeah, that's just basic maths.
But it's effectively, so like if somebody says to you, "Oh, cut the potatoes up into 4s, but actually only bring me 6 bits." And how many potatoes is that you're going to cut up because it depends. And it's that, so you don't realise it, but you are using it because of.
Oh, you're using math. What I'm saying is, you're not necessarily. I mean,
algebra is just a function in maths, and that's the thing. So
what I'm saying, but you're not saying, okay, so how much in your daily life do you want to say, well, 2a plus 3c equals x.
No, but for example, if I'm trying to figure out, like, if I'm talking to somebody like you guys, British people, and I'm trying to figure out how many kilometers something is. I know that 50 miles is 80 kilometers.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to figure out how many kilometers is, so because I'm talking to somebody who doesn't like, or Canadian or a younger British person, you're all older, you remember miles. Canadian doesn't remember miles, and your younger British people don't remember miles. I'm trying to figure out, what does 65 miles in kilometers mean? So I have to use algebra to figure that out.
But there's also the things like the
Maybe.
basic stuff.
Okay, they don't use geometry. If you measure
Yeah.
a room, you use geometry.
Well, I mean, but you were saying, but the other thing you were saying about not knowing what is something about relying on technology is something that a few years ago I used to be helping out at my local library when we were doing unemployment. And one thing I always said to people, the most useful, one of the most useful things when you've done your job applications and the rest of it is a spell checker. First thing you do is make sure it's set to American. It's a British English,
right?
Because if it's set to American English and you're doing something for a Brit, they're going to think you can't spell,
right?
Yeah,
and
but that deal depends on what colour it turns up.
Well, part of it also, it doesn't get the same word that spells differently. It's like,
exactly.
There, you can
exactly
there perfectly right, but it's the wrong context.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's either there or there.
Yeah,
so again,
exactly.
It's not a tool.
Yes, exactly. I was telling you know these things, but if you spell check it and it will show you if you spelt the words right. But that's all it will do. It will tell you if you spelt the words right in whichever language you've told it to check them.
Right.
So it's exactly that. It's a tool, but it's a tool that you need to. You can end up
participation trophies in the UK.
Oh yes. The
They're
weird,
very popular in North America.
well, the weird thing is, as someone who was never particularly sporty, but nowadays understands the importance for youngsters of being active. The idea of saying, okay, I can see why, yes, there is an argument for it doesn't matter if you win as long as you take part. I can understand that. But when you say that that's the only thing that counts, that I think is when it goes too far. I mean, if you give someone encouragement to get involved, is good.
Yeah, but we didn't get encouraged to be involved. We got told to be involved.
Well, we also
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
electronic devices to take up our times. Our parents sent us outside, and we spent hours outside, never came home.
I'm actually looking for something in this drawer. Hold on. I need to dig it all the way out just to double check.
If I was a bookworm, if my mother wanted me out of her hair, she would send me outside.
I've told you that's what my mum used to do. My brother, if my brother did anything wrong, you in the house. If I did anything wrong, you out.
Yes. I used to bring a book up into our apple tree and climb up and sit there and read.
I was looking for this, right? The reason I brought that out is because something was mentioned.
Anymore either.
Participation trophies, right?
Oh, God.
Participation trophy. This is from school, right? And I've still got these. Right, hold on. I complete and utterly hated sport.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I've still got them from school.
Trophies?
Because, believe it or not, school day, I came in second in one of the runs.
Bravo.
And I came in first in the other.
Bravo.
And I hate sport. And I've even got this. This is a participation trophy.
Wow.
Bravo.
Blair Vaddock Sailing and Outdoor Centre Student Award. This is to certify that me has successfully completed a course of instruction in sailing and has reached a satisfactory standard of proficiency. The instructor's name, the warden's name, and date 12th of June 1981. That's my participation trophy, saying I did it and I got a basic understanding of it.
I've got loads of those. I've actually got. I have a fault. If you're going to that sort of thing, that's not what I call participation. Well, I'd say that.
Look what I keep it in. Look what I keep it in.
God, an old cassette case.
Does anybody out there know what this is?
Yes, it's an audio cassette case. I've got loads of them within that big of me.
Here.
Oh,
I know we know what it is, but there you go. I still keep it in that. But one of the things in there is a participation trophy that I'm proud that I got because I took part. But it basically says that I took part and I was proficient in it at the end. If I took part and just lazed around, I wouldn't have got the trophy to say I took part.
That's what I say.
That's the difference. There's
it's a certificate of achievement rather than participation, isn't it?
Yes, it's an achievement trophy.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, a participation trophy. If you're saying to someone, we want everybody to participate, and truthfully, if you run around and you don't even finish, it doesn't matter. It's the running around getting exercise. So yeah, you can have, I say, he's been out in the playground running around. We did a race, but he didn't want to take part. But he participated in the running around, no problem. But if you come up to sports day and say, right, the first 3 places get a prize, but everybody gets a prize because you ran, then don't have a sports day. A sports day is useless then. Because if I run my heart out and get a first prize, and the person that just went and literally just got a trophy to say he took part, what the hell's the point in me running my arse off to get a trophy?
The parents are not the kids. The kids always know who won.
Yeah.
It's the parents who are pushing this. Oh, it doesn't matter if you win, just matter play hard.
But the thing is, as well, I was not 40, so I was asked to join the football team. I said no because I ain't giving up my Saturday for anybody. That was my cartoon day. So my brother used to play football. He played in goals. He used to he'd come back with the football trophies or whatever, or they wouldn't. They would come back when we got beat. But that's the way it goes. But the couple of times I ran, I got 2 trophies. I never actually, any of the other times I ran, I never got a trophy.
Oh my God.
Here he comes.
What is wrong with you people? How can you still be on?
It's only 11 o'clock.
It's only 11 o'clock. It's practically morning on our side, Roman. I saw that. Oh no, I didn't see that. Blow that thing up, man. Blow that thing up.
No, don't.
Is that an action man?
That's an action. That's a John Wayne action man.
Green beret. God, Green Beret.
The Green Beret.
Holy
John
shit.
Wayne. Yep.
That is freaking lovely. Oh my God. That may be one of the best things I've ever seen, PJ.
Yeah.
M16 in hand. Oh my God. Where did you find that at a charity shop?
Comic-Con.
Man, oh look at that. He's got the whole vest thing going on. That is extremely detailed. That is awesome, dude.
It is. Yeah, I mean. It is
superb. Wow.
Oh, for Christ.
Hey,
Gary, go away now.
the thing is, right, I had been looking for that.
Ron crossed over with Star Wars. Would this be a Roman DeLorean? This is not the way, Retro Doc. This is not the way. Lord. So, PJ, God damn it, I had a thought. It was fully formed, and now it's gone. So this was Comic-Con, what, Glasgow?
Yes, Glasgow Comic-Con. Basically, I'm going to actually clip it out and put it up as a set.
Okay.
I basically got a couple of McFarlane. The one I showed you.
Show me. Did you already break out the big robot or no?
I've not opened it yet. It's still in the box.
Okay. All right. Oh, that is the shit.
I know. As soon as I saw it, I thought, I'm having it. And then I got a Batman, a McFarlane Batman.
Excellent.
Animated series.
The class. Yeah, the Tim Bruce Tim. era animation stuff. I love that stuff, man.
Yeah, I would. The thing is, that animated one I saw on Amazon, same as the Green Beret John Wayne, and I was going to buy them. I thought Comic-Con's coming up, I'll save my money. Walked in, same price, if not slightly cheaper.
Holy crap!
Both of them as they were on Amazon.
Hey, have you taken a look at the Hasbro Plus stuff that's out right now?
No.
Hasbro Plus just put out a whole new line of things that are coming out. They have, and this is the one that I'm going to get, but look it up when you have the time. It's the Bruce Banner. So you have a little Bruce Banner standing in front of the big Hulk figure. So they're putting that out, as well as a lot of other classic stuff. So Hasbro Plus is putting a lot of good stuff out, as well as McFarlane. It's like they're some kind of festival weekend thing for them, because they keep putting out new things all weekend long. Oh, you got a Frankenstein! Blow it up, blow it up, blow it up, blow it up!
Monster.
Remember, I'm on my phone right now, like an animal, so I can't see things very well.
It's Frankenstein and Dracula.
Oh, Dracula! Who did those figures? What company is that?
The Universal City Studios. Universal Monsters.
Universal
Right
City
on.
Studios. I knocked my camera down.
Oh my God, those are huge. Those are bigger than 12-inch, aren't they? Those are like, what?
14.
14? Yeah. Holy shit, dude. Oh my God, those are lovely. You don't have any room for anything else in your house right now. You're going to have to ask Mrs. Maybe to start staying outside with the lads.
I've asked if I can get next door, knock through, and she says, I know, I said just, you said no chance.
Just buy next door's house.
Oh no.
But yeah, as soon as I saw those, I had to get them. That McFarlane figure, as soon as I saw it, I thought, Roman had that one. And I'm not a big Iron Man fan, but as soon as I saw that, I thought, I love that. And then it was sitting there, and I
yeah, those are, like I said, I was lucky. I got it on sale for that one, which I shan't name, so you can have the, but I got it for like $33 on my side, which was on sale. So I was like, yeah, that's like a win. Because, I'm a man who can't resist a bargain, particularly when it comes to either records, action figures, or alcohol. Those are like my three things. You give me a bargain on those, I am so in, baby.
Well, the guy was selling that for 50, and I got him to cut it down to 40.
Nice job. The old Scottish bargaining that we've heard about. Well played, my friend.
I loved it. I bought a load of stuff. I've got a couple of box openings to do. I've got a mirror Scotty. It's still in the box.
Oh, really? Awesome. Oh, is it the Mego?
It's not. It is. I put them all over there. I'll dig it out. Hold on.
Well, you don't have to dig it out. I'm just kind of curious. It was a curiosity question.
I just moved it.
And now I've put him to work already. I've only been here for like a minute. How's everybody else doing? I've just gotten back from my staycation. I've been gone at the resort all weekend, so we just got back right now.
But today's Saturday. It's not the all weekend yet.
Well, for me, it's an all weekend.
That's right. You're retired. Never mind.
Right. It is Art Asylum.
Oh, okay. No, I actually don't know the brand. So how big is that one?
This is
that 8-inch? 6-inch. So is it a figure or is it the doll? It looks like it's a figure.
It's a figure. I've got the Scotty and the Spock, which are the same.
Oh, brand. See, I would like to have those. Those are kind of like, I don't know if you can even see these. I don't have a light. Can you see those?
Yes.
So I've got the Kirk, the Spock, Vader, and Spock. I think those are probably about the same size as those guys down there.
They're the ones that I've got up there. They're the
Yeah.
These are the same idea because the
Spock
one. There's the Spock and the Kirk I got basically out the box, but they're not the mirror ones. These are just the Spock.
The standard. Kirk. Oh, yeah, but it's that same. That's that same line. And that's the Kirk with the green shirt, right?
Yes.
I like the green shirt Kirk. I don't know why I like it better, but I do. And Spock's always Spock. Spock's that's my son's favorite as well as Spock.
As soon as I saw that one, Mirror Scotty, I had to get it.
No, that's great. I'd love to get the whole Mirror Universe figure line, but then Mrs. the Empire is like, you know, do you have to start a whole new series of characters right now? You're not satisfied with your Marvel and DC figures? I'm like, but honey, it's Star Trek. What am I gonna do? So anyway, I don't want to invade the show too much. I just got back. I'm standing out in the garage like an animal. You can't just throw things like that at me, PJ. Oh my God, yeah, that's so good. So what they've also released from that, you have a Superman, you have a Flash, you have a Green Lantern, you have a Superman in the black suit as well, all in that same style from the McFarlane line.
Well,
So I'm just throwing that out there.
Somebody started me on McFarlane stuff.
Please don't tell Mrs. Maybe it was me.
Too late.
I don't want to start getting hate mail from Scotland. Hey, all right, I'm gonna take off, guys. I just wanted to pop and say, like I said, we just got home and I saw you were still on, so I wanted to pop in and say hello. And I wanted to see your secret stash of stuff. That John Wayne Greenberg. Oh, did you get the George Takei figure as well?
My.
Oh my. No, I did. Do you want me to show it? It's in the box for next week. I got one for next week.
Yes! That's so much winning. All right. Well, you guys have a great rest of the stream. I got to finish unpacking and get yelled at by Mrs. of the Empire, but I wanted to pop in and say hi to you guys.
Right. No problem. We're good. Just going to go back to Doctor Who. We'll catch you next week.
You son of a bitch.
Term of affection.
Son of a bitch. Oh, that was nice. Basically popping in.
That was funny.
But yeah, I've actually next week I'll show some of my I'll show my He-Man and Star Trek next week. Basically, I'm going to start cutting them out. So basically, they need to, because I want to do more box openings. So what I'm going to do is I'm doing box openings for these over the next couple of weeks. Because tomorrow, tell a lie. Monday, there is a Judge Dredd. I finally opened the Judge Dredd box. It sits there. I finally opened that box. I've had it since I came back from New York.
Were you in New York?
6 years ago.
Oh.
7 years ago. The box is good. The box looks cool. The sleeve in the box looks cool. So I didn't want to. So what I did was I finally get round to opening it, and the figure looks absolutely amazing. And he is somewhere. Where'd I put him? Judge.
He's out fighting.
Actually, he's just literally he's sitting in front of it. So that's the figure. It can come out the box. So it did. That's the figure that came out the box.
Wow. Okay, I'm now getting a bit worried that PJ is stripping Judge Dredd.
Basically, magnets. So it's
wow.
So Judge Dredd, and his stand is really good as well. You need to put him back on his stand. So that's the Judge. I finally opened the box.
Wow.
And it absolutely looks amazing. The detail on it. Even his equipment. He got 2 stun grenades, and he even got a reload for his lawgiver.
Wow.
So you even got a reload, which I was surprised at. You've got your lawgiver, you got your boot knife, you've got your day stick, you've got your cuffs, 2 grenades, and a reload.
The odd thing is, I would say that to me, the nightstick or the baton and the cuffs both look out of scale. The baton looks too small, the cuffs look too big.
The cuffs look a bit big, but they do for what they are. They're meant to be high. So the good thing is,
well, you did in that size. You did in that size. They'd probably be quite too small to see if you did in the right size, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but they fold up. So
yeah, that's good. They fall on the floor as well.
They fall on the floor as well, so they do fold up.
Oh, okay.
And the day stick's actually not too bad. It's actually decent. But the figure, so that's Monday. The box opening for that is getting done. So I've got I did my Ash last Monday, this Monday, and I'm going to probably do my Star Trek stuff that I got there for Monday for next Monday. So it'll give me a week to do it. So I'm doing box openings. I'm going to start doing box openings, and so I need to actually. I need to now start digging out the stuff so I can start box opening. I saw a Dr. Zayas today and I was going to buy him. I literally saw a Dr. Zayas. There was a lot of the Mego ones, the wee ones you get the Star Trek ones, and I've got there's the Ratha Khan. Wen's got the Ratha Khan, same one as me. They had Dr. Zayas. They had a few other unusual Star Trek monsters, as well as others.
Thank you, Matt. I now have the Troy McClure Planet of the Apes musical going around inside my head from The Simpsons.
That's
the one.
The Mondo figure. I may have a couple of Mondo figures, and I don't have a Judge Death. I used to have a Judge Death and Anderson, but they got sort of binned with my Judge Dredd comics a wee while back.
Oh no!
But I want the 4 Dark Judges, so I do. Truthfully, Anderson doesn't even bother me. I've never been a big Anderson fan.
Oh, I like Anderson.
I want the Dark Judges. I want a Judge Giant. That's the next judge I want to get.
That will be
if
nice,
I'm getting
yes.
for a Judge Giant is the one. And no, I am the law. I want Carl Urban's Judge Dredd in Sylvester Stallone's Mega City 1.
Yes.
With comic book Judge Dredd armor. And I could justify it. I can justify having the ego and the pad. So I can. So you don't need to have them looking like a motorcycle cop or an over-the-top codpiece type judge. What you do is you have them in a almost skin tight-ish onesie, like you see in the judges, and see it's Kevlar or a nanotech that is more bulletproof, or bullet resistant, so it's like a body armor. And guess where all the electronics to run it are, and protected by armor on the shoulders. So you can have the ego and the pad, and that's where so they would take that if a judge has been injured to switch the suit off or to repair the damage.
Most
to me,
importantly,
that is better than having a Judge Dredd look like a motorcycle cop or a Judge Dredd with the codpiece and looks a bit off. You need sort of somewhere in between the two.
You want an early Judge Dredd because you've got to have Walter the Wobot.
Well, yes, Walter the Wobot, I would love to have had in Dredd. So the thing is, people are saying the second Carol Urban movie should have been Judge Death. No. That's 2 or 3 movies down the line. What you want to do is maybe have them doing... They should have, instead of doing slow-mo, because they did slow-mo in 3D just to be all artistic. Yeah. It's Judge Dredd. We don't want artistic. We don't care. We just want an ultra-violent, really good movie. They should have had Stooky glands. So it was Stooky glands they were actually smuggling in, because they're meant to, in that way they could use de-aging technology to see the ones that are actually Stooky glands, because you could have an older actor playing this young thing just being de-aged, and then as the judges find them and wean them off it, they go back to their age. So it's not as if you need to have them in the action scene. because the ones who do the the smuggle the snooky glands don't use it. It's like any drug. The users and the suppliers are not in the same circle, mostly. But what I would want to do is see the next movie, do it in the cheap, do a hot dog run. One of these see that zombie movie they had where Vegas, they were having to break into Vegas because there was a zombie outbreak and they had a group of people. All they do is they have that. They can have zombies or they can have mutants, should I say, rather than zombies. They can have the dinosaurs, they can have robots, they could have anything they want and just have a Judge Dredd, and 6 or 7 rookies. So you can have your diverse, all young judges. And that's all you need to do. So you've got that. There's no big cityscapes. They just go out into the cursed earth. Just basically anywhere in America at the moment. You can drive through San Francisco. It's probably less scary than the cursed earth. But what you could do is do something the cheap, Judge Dredd, bring it back out so it's not a big budget. You've got 7 or 8 people, and it's basically you've got monsters or mutants or something to fight. Not a lot of CGI needed in that. And then you could actually, the next one, you could have maybe the cursed earth, where they're literally traveling across the cursed earth from one city to the other because of something happening. And then they're fairly inexpensive and they don't need a big cityscape. Then they could do the Judge Death one later on.
Or do the ones where they go abroad as well. I mean, do
Texas
ones, do the sex bit, do the Brit set or Emerald City ones, do the
Now, see, the thing is, I know Judge Dredd 2000 AD is a British comic.
Yeah.
I hated the Brit Sit judges. I hated Caltech. I hated the Emerald Isle judges. The Shinto judges were cool as hell. The Japanese judges, I would love to see that. They were the white armor, and instead of the day stick, it was, what was that weapon called? It was almost like a hook. It was the day stick with the hook on the end, and it was just so cool. Judge Dredd got his arse kicked by a Shinto judge. I would love to see that. But I thought the Brit City judges where it was slightly taller helmet, and it was because they were
a little bit. But alternatively, do something that I must admit I haven't read the comics for many years, but do something like do a prequel, as in how the system came about.
No, you don't want to do a prequel.
You don't think so?
No. You could do a year 1 judge, so you can if you want to actually start casting someone who's young, then go a prequel and do a year 1 Judge Dredd, just finishing the academy. True. So he's the one in the Anderson position, going through under a judge, and then
I was actually reading the Judge Anderson movies.
But the next 2 or 3 movies and him growing with the city, because remember the comic book Judge Dredd aged.
Yeah.
So the comic book ran 40 years and Judge Dredd aged 40 years.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, or at least, because I can't remember, I don't think how much they actually explained of how it came. You wouldn't necessarily even need, no, you're right, you wouldn't necessarily want to do a full film, on that.
Yeah.
Because if you weren't careful, you'd end up with a choice. You could end up in Judge Dredd, or you could end up in Starship Troopers.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, you could actually do a bit of both, and that's the good thing.
Yeah,
you could actually have the judges going into the cursed earth because there's a militia, and there you go. It's basically an old holdout, and basically these Starship Troopers, they didn't turn out like Starship Troopers. They were actually androids who had been programmed since someone found them after the atomic war, which caused the
ABC Warriors.
But in effect, a cut down version. So somebody who had found all these sanitation droids or whatever and reprogrammed to be militia.
Yeah.
And then you can have the judges against this army of androids who look like Starship Troopers, and you can have that, or they can against the bugs, because there's hundreds of criminals that they could have. Instead of creating Mama, which was a new character, I would like them to go against Mean Machine Angel. In the first Sylvester Stallone movie, 3 things I loved. ABC Warrior looked amazing. It didn't fit in the Judge Dredd thing, the movie, because it looked like somebody had read they was going through the comic going, oh, there's a big robot, put him in. Oh, there's a block war, put that in. Oh, Mean Machine Angel, put him in. Oh, Judge Rico, put him in. Oh, Fergie, put him in. Oh, and it's almost like they'd actually, you had a kid with actually ADHD actually just reading 100 books and putting every single thing he read in that one. Sorry, cut it down. So I want to see the Mean Machine Angel, a proper one, a judge against the Angel Brothers, and there you go. There's a follow up against Fink Angel with Ratty. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, there's hundreds they could do. I want to see them against the Ape Boys, the Ape Gang. Yeah, I mean, they've done it in, was it The Flash? They did the what was the Flash villain, the ape?
Gorilla Grodd, yeah.
Gorilla Grodd. They've done that. So the thing is, in Judge Dredd, there was already artificially intelligent apes, and they became more. They enjoyed watching the TV. So what happened is they became more gangster-like because they used to enjoy the old gangster movies. So it was just that was what they became because their society. It was because it would be like the old Star Trek one where they actually went to the thing and they'd been receiving old movies from from.
Well, the thing is, what we're talking, it's like we said before. It's another IP which would which has sufficient within it to lend itself to a shared universe. A 2000 AD shared universe.
Alpha. You've got Rogue Trooper.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got ABC Warriors. You've got there's hundreds. You've even got Sam Slade, which I wasn't a big. No, Sam Slade. Halo Jones. I'm not a big fan of Halo Jones. Halo Jones is very, very popular. I'm not.
I don't think I ever watched Red Halo Jones at all. Sam Slade.
I just couldn't get it. But Sam Slade, with a kid with a big cigar, stogie cigar, and the wee robots. I used to like Sam Slade.
Well, let's put it this way. I mean,
it could not be done today because they couldn't CGI. It's like Boss Baby, I suppose. This wee kid. We had an appy on and a big stogie. Going, hey, you buds, get to bloody up and all this stuff like that. You can't just. Well, I can't imagine it.
Let's put it this way: we could just cast you as Max Normal. You've got the hat.
Yeah.
Just get your pinstripe suit.
But there's so much you could do. The thing is, you pick a genre, it will work in it. Any genre you pick, Judge Dredd has already been there.
Yeah, you've got. I mean, it's another one of these
dinosaurs. Dinosaurs. They've done dinosaurs. Flesh.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Judge Dredd was in the Cursed Earth. Some of the reptiles there got mutated into dinosaurs. Surprise, surprise. Futuristic. You had people coming back in time, and they would basically that. But you've got fantasy. So you've got westerns. They've done westerns as well.
Yeah, you've got to. I mean, you could do it depending upon how you went about it, collecting the universes, the various storylines together. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got. We know some are in there because they've come in there in the comics. You've got the ABC Warriors and therefore Robusters into the basic.
I want. Not only do I want a Hammerstein comic book accurate Hammerstein figure, I want a Roadjaws. I've always loved Roadjaws. Roadjaws and Hammerstein were my favourite too when I was reading it. Judge Dredd, Johnny Alpha, Roadbusters. But I always had this thing about this sanitation rod with a big and a shovel for a hand. All the crap it was. I just love that, and I would love to see that type of thing. But yeah, you can start it off with a movie called Dead Man. Right? So there's this body which is all ripped and scarred, no memory. And we wake up in this small western town, but it's obviously a more futuristic, more Firefly type western town. So they've got guns, but they're more futuristic rather than a 6-shooter. And then there's these muties come in, and he stands up, and then they decide to go after him. So a western, but with muties in it and more advanced guns. And as the guy starts getting his memory, he has flashbacks to this happening and that happening and this happening, and he realizes that something big happened to him, and it turns out, believe it or not, he's Judge Dredd. And basically somebody tried to kill him by throwing him into a meat grinder.
I mean, it
was an industrial meat grinder, but it was only his years of training, his reflexes, it managed to get out with, mostly surviving. But it was basically so he has to go back to the city, reclaim his title, and find out what happened to him. So you're setting it up where people are watching a westernish type thingy, and you're introducing them to the world gradually. And then the next movie is the judge back in the city investigating the crime that got him there. There's 2 movies. But then again, I'm just a thicko who have got no idea what I'm talking about.
There are so many things you can do with those ones. It's like there's different bits and pieces you can do. The only problem I've got, the only concern I have with that sort of thing, if you spread it out, is one of my major concerns about something like, for example, this idea of a multimedia Doctor Who universe is, as long as each bit is contained enough that you can watch it without having to do all your homework and watch everything else.
See, that's the thing. I would not say have it as a book to bring that in, or have it as a good series.
I mean,
comics.
even with that one,
here are the movies. Even if it's a TV show and a TV movie, maybe have a sort of spin-off to a big screen, but it doesn't matter to the world. That's just like maybe they introduce Johnny Alpha and suddenly it's a big Johnny Alpha movie.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it as long
but
as
I would not under any circumstances try and say, well, see, if you read the comics, the comic books would have this.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, that's one of the things.
I love the Judge Dredd comics. I think it would be a step board into reading the Judge Dredd comics.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the
homework. And listen, I've realised what time it is. I know, Alec, you're starting to flag. Are you needing to go?
Yeah, just need to sort out something with Colin after the show, really. So
right, well, we're going to actually aim for another 10 minutes maximum.
Okay,
so
cool.
We're going to do the wind up.
Yeah, I've got
the wind down.
But what I was saying is, I mean,
whacked off. Right? Sorry.
Even across the whole thing, it's like I think if you do it the way Marvel did it in the first place, so you have to watch their movies.
2 things I wish people would stop doing: Star Wars and Marvel, and stop using them as that, because Marvel at the beginning were great because they had a launching point. But anybody who's tried to copy that model doesn't work, because it cannot work, because it was a lightning in a bottle.
Yeah,
people try to copy it. People just look at it and go, "It's Marvel."
But what I mean
And
is
it's the same as they've done with Star Wars, is trying to be more Marvel-like. But people are also saying, oh, they want to be more like Star Wars. And I wish people would stop trying to be like somebody else.
No, what I mean is that they do that. But what I think is the most egregious, and it's not a new thing. It happened way back 20, 30 years ago when I was reading comics. You'd get a storyline in one comic, and then it would be continued across 3 or 4 other comics, which I didn't collect. You know, I mean,
and to me, those stories just went
perfect.
Didn't care.
Perfect example at the moment is with the Mandalorian. Is I didn't watch the Book of Boba Fett, so when I watched the Mandalorian, I'm going to sit there going, hold on a second, didn't Grogu go off with Luke? You know,
No,
I don't want to see that.
He went off with me.
Yeah, I can't hear you again. I don't know if it's your mic or mine.
It went off with me.
I certainly can't hear you at all, PJ.
Hey, okay.
Apparently, there was something where Grogu went off with Luke, and then this takes place after he came back.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Right. So it's Colin.
It's just Colin.
So Grogu came with me, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh.
I'm going to actually dig it out and dig out a screwdriver and see if I can put batteries in this. So when I give it to my friend, I give it to my friend because she missed the Comic-Con.
Does it light up?
Might be mine.
Well, there's the batteries in it, so I would assume so. So I need to check it out. And it looks. I got it. It was a wee. She couldn't make it to the Comic-Con because she was going back to Poland. And it just so happened, because I said to her, you go to Comic-Con? She says, yes, when is it? And I told her, she went, oh. So no, she couldn't make it. So I said, I didn't say I would get her something. What I did was I saw it and I thought she would like that. So I picked it up for her. So I'll need to actually dig out a set of screwdrivers and actually fix it and see if I can actually unscrew the bloody thing. See if I'm hoping it's just, I've got a load of watch batteries. So I have. So I'll dig out that tomorrow. See if I can get it.
Yeah.
So need to put this away. Not that I keep all these dangerous weapons round about me, but so yeah, I've got them. So, what's your plans for this week apart from watching Coupling for Wednesday? Season 1 is all we really need to do because it gives you the basics of the characters.
All right, I'll check that out tonight instead of watching the rest of, or some of the rest of season 18 of Doctor Who.
I'm going to dig out After Paradise, watch that a bit tomorrow, but comic books are going to be my priority for tomorrow. And there's only one comic I'm not going to read, and surprise, surprise, it's because it's graded.
When you're talking about watching Beyond Paradise, it's a different type of show. It's not the murder of the week.
Of course not. It's basically is different. And I think it only works because if you took any of the other characters, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, it's definitely.
It's a Chris Marshall. It's a Chris Marshall vehicle.
I've loved them both. I know some people out there in the world don't like them. I've loved them because Humphrey is just such a great character. He's kind of an everyman in the sense that he's very normal. He's very smart, but he's also got a lot of faults.
Yes. But the thing is, that's what I'm saying. You look at any of the other characters, I don't think it would work as well with them. No. I think it's very Chris Marshall orientated.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Miller's character in that position, or Adrian O'Hanlon. I could never pronounce his name.
Ardal O'Hanlon.
That's the one. Ardal O'Hanlon. If you put his character in, it just would not work. Ben Miller's definitely would not work.
Ben Miller's dead.
But I know he's dead. But I'm saying this: if you had him in that type of role, it would not work for their type of characters.
It reminds me, there's one thing actually on the last episode of Death in Paradise.
Mm-hmm.
If Camille has a boy, are they going to call him Richard?
Are they going to call him what?
Richard.
Oh,
Are they
Richard.
going to call him Richard?
Could be.
No, they're not.
Well, no, but because we know that she actually.
She's going to
The
call
only
him,
bit about
if it's a
the
boy, she'll call it after the guy who got her pregnant, even though he was the one that shot her. That
No, different person.
No. It's a different guy. This is a new boyfriend.
It's a new boyfriend, yeah.
So I doubt the new boyfriend or man in her life would want her to name the baby after somebody else who was in her life, even though he's passed away.
Yeah,
Well,
but I don't know.
She was in love with him, and he was just her former boss, whom she respected.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it just occurred to me when she dropped the fact that she.
You need to stop actually speaking. Bugger lugs, you cut out halfway through, and we're all going.
What? Pardon? Sorry.
Oh, Gary's on a roll.
Oh dear. Well, then again, yes. Bring her back. Yes, I'll bring the actress back. Yeah.
And anyway, they're actually. Do you realise that? I heard the rumor that he was actually Ralph Little's leaving, and they're bringing in a girl with hearing impaired, so they're going to actually all learn sign language.
Oh God!
It's going to be Death in Paradise, isn't it?
They're going to call it Death in Paradise.
Death in Paradise.
Oh come on! Even Colin worked it. I was leading that up to that.
I thought it was Death in Paradise. Yes.
Oh,
Death in Paradise. Come on.
Oh dear.
Oh my God. Anyway,
the annoying thing is, I can actually imagine the BBC doing that.
I know, so could I. So, anybody else on? Sorry, Julia, I missed that.
I was just going to say the woman who was in episode 7 who was investigating Neville, I didn't like her.
No.
See, I actually liked her better than the last one they had introduced.
Oh, she was terrible, and she ended up cutting.
I think that woman would be good because of what the commissioner said to her, and she just looked devastated that people thought she was wrong, and it was proved that she was wrong. I think she would be a good character because she's now got that behind her. So you imagine her coming in now, she wouldn't be overly confident. She would want to get to the truth rather than just assume.
Well,
Good point. I just keep thinking that the commissioner is known for.
I got the moment I was reading it, but I got the point. He said, "Okay, you've got 2 days.
You've done it again.
Go on." She just wanted to say, "Go on, prove it." You know, she just said, "Let them go and prove it." She had her theory, but.
You stop that! You paradise and paradise.
No. They'd call a casino. They'd call a casino paradise. It would still be murders. That all occur. It would be murders in paradise.
Well, we all know that
Death in Paradise
is the most dangerous place in the Caribbean, just as Midsummer's the most dangerous county in England, and Cabot Cove is the most dangerous county state of city.
Glasgow had its own when it had Taggart, and then it had Robbie Coltrane's Cracker.
Oh, right, Cracker.
It's a murder.
St. Mary Cray is the most dangerous place. You never actually want to know Miss Marple.
Right.
You certainly don't want to know Jessica Fletcher.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen? There's a show I discovered on one of the streaming services called Acorn, which does the Anglosphere, but this is a British show called Madame Blanc.
I was looking it up earlier on. I haven't seen it. No, I looked it when you mentioned it.
On Acorn, and it's definitely British.
Yeah. British.
I've only seen one episode so far, and it's been entertaining.
British woman goes to France because her husband's killed or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And her husband's name is, get this, Rory.
Oh dear.
But her name is not Karen Gillan or
not
Amy.
Yeah, or Amy. But Rory is her husband, and yes, he dies. We never really meet him. We just know that he's dead. And I don't think he comes back like the other Rory. story.
I was going to say, does he come back as a son? Does he come back as
he
an
turned
orphan?
into a time traveler on his own anyway.
Yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
exactly.
Well,
When
he
he
was
left, Legends of Tomorrow went downhill when he left as well.
Wasn't Arthur Darvill on another show where he sort of referred to having a daughter who was older than he was?
That could have been.
It could have been Legends of Tomorrow.
It could have been Legends of Tomorrow because he was traveling backwards and forwards.
Okay.
in time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I've never seen either. I do need to.
I actually liked his spin-offs. I liked both of the Lone Centurion Big Finish spin-offs, even though they took atrocious liberties with their history.
Well,
I hate that when they do that. They actually try and do a spin-off, and then they actually fiss around with it.
Oh no,
And
no,
that's
no,
what- that's
not
what I
the
said
Doctor Who
before. The thing is, what they'll do is they'll not twist his character to fit the established history. They'll twist the established history to fit into what they want his character to do, and that's when it messes with it.
They do that all the time.
I know, but I don't like it. That's what I'm saying. That's things like that I don't like. I don't have an issue them slotting in as long as it's sort of melted in with it. Even if it's so the Centurion, he could have been at the Battle of Philop or whatever, any battle, but he was near the main Centurion. It was a Centurion in that cohort. It basically sat and watched it happen. And you couldn't get involved because it was too far away. I would prefer that type of story rather than that.
As has been pointed out in the past, Jamie McCrimmon would never have worn a kilt
No.
to the Battle of Culloden.
Yeah.
And that was classic Who, not new Who. So
the problem is everybody's got a stereotype. The thing is, people know those stereotypes are just a placeholder. We don't think Alec walks about when he's actually no working with his pinstripe suit, his bowler hat, and his briefcase.
He could get away with them.
We don't actually think Colin's sitting there with a bit of straw hanging out of his mouth going,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't think under this I'm wearing a
No,
kilt.
and I'm not wearing the black hood either. I'm wearing the green one.
But that's what I'm saying is it's the fact that stereotypes are
boots.
right, because it was easier actually putting Jamie in a kilt than you knew he was a Scotsman. Simple as that. So you didn't need to go into a backstory and all this.
No.
He was in a kilt, he was a Scotsman. You look at the two Ronnies when they were doing the sketches about the farmers. They were doing a bit of, you knew where they were meant to be. They didn't. They were giving it R, and you knew what they were meant to be because it was stereotypical. But it was not to say, "Oh, look at all those thickos." No, it was to establish the character without having to think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you look at how Allo, right? Yeah. What did the escaping airmen always come in dressed as? Striped top, onions round them, and a berry. It was seen as a joke because then you've got Renee and you've got Michelle and you've got all them running around looking normal. They're dressed normally, but there's these two guys who think they're looking like friends.
Hello.
But they're effectively looking like caricatures because they're doing stereotypical, and it's that type of thing. Stereotypes. Anybody who takes an offence at a stereotype doesn't understand it. A stereotype's not there to make fun of it; it's there to actually establish a character without thinking. So you could see Jamie McCrinnon. Well, we know Scots didn't wear kilts back then.
Well, most of us did. I didn't know.
You've set him as in Scotland, so he's wearing a kilt. We know he's Scottish. Yeah. So you didn't even need to actually open his mouth. We knew he was Scottish.
But I mean,
that's what stereotypes are for.
It's things like one of the things I like is the second box set is called Camelot, and throughout the entire, I think it's great, despite the fact, because partly the fact, for example, that throughout the entire box set of stories, he attracts the attention of Sir Lancelot. And
Oh,
Sir
yeah, I
Lancelot.
haven't listened to that one yet. I've only heard him
Sir Lancelot could quite easily been played by John Inman, shall we say?
Give the 5-minute warning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, listen, there was one thing I want to say. The one thing about the Rory stuff in it annoyed me. When they go back in time, remember, he's still wearing his Centurion's uniform.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're basically turning around and effectively saying, all that time, people used to see him, but we all forgot it, and then they would only see him and think of him as a legend. But all the way to back there, he would walk about and people would say, what's that guy dressed as a Roman for?
No,
on the cover of Camelot, he is wearing chainmail.
But see, it should have been, because in effect, they've had him in modern Britain wearing his Roman outfit, his Centurion outfit. So why is he doing it then? And why is he now back to wearing it? Which means it's over 2,000 years old and he's basically still wearing it. Yeah, he had different clothes back. That's when I think they messed with it. He was meant to be a wax soldier.
Right, he wasn't on time.
So it would have been all molded to him. So him hiding because he couldn't change who he was the way to do it. But that's typical when they go back and try and mess with things.
You've got to do something. You've got to insert something.
Let's face it, Rory did live for 2,000 years before he came back, so...
Yes, but he was wearing the same outfit, so why would they suddenly change throughout those times, then go back and put his same stuff on that is not only out of date, that if it was real, it would have already fallen to pieces. But
but no, think when when he turns up, he's not wearing his Centurion's uniform when he's a security guard at the museum, is he?
No, he's not. He's not.
He's wearing a uniform.
But then why is he wearing his Centurion uniform at all? It just makes no sense.
He's wearing it in the Christmas special because the Doctor mate thought it was a joke.
Yeah,
and they make a point of it because he's part of the point they're wearing. I think is when they're on their honeymoon, and we won't go into that.
No.
When he appears in the
part, those parts are different parts of the story.
Yeah,
this is the Rory from. It's been living for 2,000 years. Not the Rory. It was married to.
We don't. No.
So you basically had two Rorys in that. You had the wax work Rory who was living through the years, and then you had the real Rory who basically died with.
He died like 10,000 times.
You've got somehow Rory comes back as.
But see, that's the point. There it's right there. Somehow.
Yeah, no, but
somehow doesn't work for us.
Yeah, but that was when they reset the universe, wasn't it? Because he's Alton Rory up until they reset the universe. So we see Alton. I mean, the only time we see Alton Rory, if I remember right, so we only actually see Alton Rory in
that episode. I don't know when we saw Alton Rory before that episode, because you always saw the real Rory until you saw him pulling her out of the fire. And then them talking about how many times he'd been seen in the past. That's, to me, the lazy part of the storytelling.
Oh, I see what you mean when they've got the picture of him. Oh,
yes,
I see. Yeah.
And all that. Up until that point,
of the Mr. Centurion. Yeah,
the mystery. But up until that point, it was never thinking. There was only Rory.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that he could.
But see, the fact is they've got it to the point where you say somehow, if they get us who have watched it that many times and enjoy it, say somehow he came back to life. They've not explained it to us.
No, it's not. I mean,
got an explanation.
No, and I just thought about it because you've got Rory. We see Alton Rory. We get from he's brought back by the alliance of whatever they call themselves, right? As part of the trap for the Doctor in the Pandorica. Alton Rory in Rome, Alton Centurion Rory. We see Alton. I'm getting pissed off with his sudden internet.
I know. Right, what we'll do is we'll finish up there because we don't want Roman coming back next week and says, you did talk about Doctor Who.
Anyway, shall I promote?
Yes, we'll go round the horn. Alec, tell us what's coming up.
Yes, you'll find me on Twitter, there with my names, and also FFFSI. And also we've got a show on Monday, so that'll be at 8 o'clock UK time.
Right. Julie, have you got anything coming up apart from watching Mr.
No,
Hyde tomorrow?
I do not. My life is very dull.
I don't believe that. You actually give us a sparkle. Actually make us three guys actually look as if we're intelligent because you actually ask the right questions.
Well, thank you.
Believe it or not, we would be just standing here still arguing about the first thing.
Well,
Squirrel.
I'm eclectic.
Yeah, you're eclectic. I'm a collector.
I think we're all somewhat eclectic. We all have different interests
I've got sick in here
that we can just sort of, go off in different tangents. That's what I like about hanging out with you all. I love going off on tangents because my mind works in mysterious ways.
Yes, and mine sort of works sometimes. But that's just me. Well, you're joining us for Wednesday, if possible, for coupling.
If I will try to watch it this evening.
Yep.
And
we've got at least until Wednesday. You can catch an episode, even the episode just did.
I'll try to watch a couple episodes.
I'm going to do the same because tomorrow, as I said, I'm offline, so I'll not get a chance to watch it tomorrow. Monday, Alex channel's on, so I'll watch it. I'll get a couple of episodes in. Tuesday, I've got free, so that's when I'm going to catch up the rest of the episodes because I'm working from home on Wednesday, so I've got a lot on. So I will catch up with Alec at FFSI. Is it the at FFSI 122?
Yeah.
Or sorry, 22 and YouTube as well as Twitter. Right.
Yes, Alex is now officially on YouTube.
Yep. On Twitter. Yep. So
and
you won't find Colin there.
Yeah. As for me, we should, as many of us should be back on Wednesday for Coupling, the TV show. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lads and lassies, we're not old. We're classic. PJ Maybe and the Let's Talk Geeky group. Good night.
Take care,